double checking everything, make sure everything's good. All right, I think we're good. Okay. Everything's excellent. I feel like YouTube's finally fixing their stuff. All right. Think we're good. All right, y'all. Is it up? Yeah. Okay, stream's up. Cool. Stream's up. Okay, we got a short stream, but I still wanted to react to the Gojo versus Kakashi like fan animation. It did look tight. I saw it on my feed, and I was like, I'm gonna watch that for later. Also, I don't know if y'all saw the Los Angeles Lakers and the One Piece special collab, bro. I'm telling you, like, One Piece is getting up there. Anime in general is getting up there. And we're gonna check out Anime News. We're gonna check out all the cut content that we had missed, which is probably like episode 7 to, I think episode 7 to 9 is out. So we're gonna check those out. All right. Let's start with the Los Angeles Lakers collab. All right. Let me put my headphones in. Actually, I just put in the left one. My other ones are charging. All right, let me see if this is connected. Make sure it's not connected to my phone. Okay. Okay, I hear no audio. Damn. Okay, connecting. Hold on. Connecting. Trying to connect. Okay. Oh wait, let me make sure it's not connected to like my phone. Oops. Bluetooth. Turn off Bluetooth. God damn. Why isn't it connecting? Okay, I think I got it. Yep, that worked. It was connected to my phone. Hold on. Damn, I forgot my drink too. This is wild. All right. Exit out of that. Where's it at? There it is. Los Angeles Lakers and One Piece. What a time, bruh. What a time. I'm a little too small here. All right. Oh shit. You had the Kobe's. You get the Space Jam dunk, boy. Come on now. Come on now. You got to put him with the GOATs. You got to put him along with the GOATs. You got Jordan who done Space Jam. LeBron did Space Jam. Now we got Luffy doing Space Jam, bro. Those are the GOATs. Oh, let me go get my drink real quick. Where my drink at? Got my drink. You can't do like no type of reactions, you know what I'm saying, without like a little bit of Pepsi. Look. Got that ice cold Pepsi, boy. Yeah. The best soda. Ooh. Hold up. I hope it's not what's it called? Noise suppression. Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't put in the glass. Put in a fresh glass. Or straight from the can. Nah. Gotta boost the immune system. You gotta drink it straight off the can. Even though, you know, like, I rinse the top off, so that doesn't really matter. Pinky out. We got like 70% battery in this ear, and then whenever this one die, if it do die, we're gonna switch to the other ear. Okay? Alright. So let's see. Ooh. Also, anybody who watches this stream after this has been posted, okay? Look, I got a fight video on this card. It's on a micro, right? It's on this micro. If y'all want to see the fight, let me know. I'll post a vlog and I put it in there, bruh. Like, I was on a drive, right? Stepped out the car at an apartment complex. These motherfuckers start walking down the stairs, bruh. And I like got out the car, and then one of the dudes was like, he's like, bring that ass here. He said, let me see them fucking hands. Right? And I was like, no, he wasn't talking to me. He wasn't talking to me. Man, I keep that fire on me too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be thinking you just walk up on me, bro. I keep that fire on me too, bro. But it wasn't for me. I wasn't worried because I knew, like, he wasn't even yelling in my direction. So it was straight. He come down right in front of my car, pretty much about like 10 feet. They just start boxing, bro. They just start boxing on like no timing, no say so, no nothing. They just went and started boxing. So if y'all want to watch, y'all want to see that, let me know. Oh wait, let me there we go. Had to get off that Wi-Fi. All right, I like that. Every time now that I get on stream and it like comes up and says excellent, now it says good. Before it would just be between excellent and poor. There was no good. There wasn't no in between. I don't even know if there's a very good, but good is good with me. So, we got the Los Angeles Lakers. We just seen that. We like that. Let's also soak in the fact that this is the first time we're seeing Luffy in clean ass Nike sneakers. That's true, bro. He had them Kobe's on. See, look. That was like the first thing I noticed. Where's it at? Look at them, bro. Oh, he's got the straw hat on it too. Yo, that's clean. That's clean. That's clean. I would definitely like buy a pair of shoes like this. If it came out by Nike and it had a straw hat on it, I'd definitely cop it. I ain't lying. Look, them hoes is clean. Frame by frame, it looked funny too. Yeah, it's clean. He looks like damn. What's his name? That's on. He's now on Blackbeard's ship. I forgot his name. Fuck. He's the dude that's got like the muscle fruit or whatever the fuck, where he was like throwing them buildings and stuff. All right. We'll go ahead and go Kakashi real quick too. We're gonna watch the Kakashi. Okay. This is the one 5 days ago. Alright. Kakashi versus Gojo. Let's get it.
君があげたの？どうやったの？
いいえ、俺の仲間が君を外に出したんだ。
おー、なるほどね。
そのまま言ったのか？
ごめんね。ちょっと先に出る役を片付けないと。それ終わったらちゃんと直接お礼言うからさ。
誰を探してるのかは知らないが、今はもっと面倒なのがいる。まずはこっちに来てもらおう。それと手に持ってるものを返してくれ。
Yo, that looks so good. They got the lighting like perfect too. Like they got the moon on his head, and so they got it on Gojo. And it's all matching up. It doesn't look like it's just copy and pasted like VFX or whatever the fuck. It just doesn't look like it's just copy and pasted behind him. Like they actually drew it out.
ごめんね。でもこれ絶対にあげないよ。
俺は戦う気ないんだけどな。
あっそう。
Damn.
あれはなんだ今のは。
They done added that red laser lining like how they got in Kuroko basketball. I like that. I like that too.
もらった。重力が全くない。こいつの能力は天与呪縛のフィジカルギフテッド。触れるのは難しいが、攻撃力はそれほどでもないな。
収束、発散、術式反転、赤。
こいつはまずい。
We all love that scene whenever it happened to Jogo.
厄介だったけど、まあこれで終わりだ。
逃げの算段はついてるわけか。お前重力を隠せるんだろ。大切り。スピードが速すぎて無限の中でも少しずつ近づいてくるのか。
内切りの速度まで大幅に落とされたんか。やはりと聞く関係の術か。
こいつ呪術師じゃないな。それにかなり危険だ。おそらく今のスクがより強い。
諦めろ。お前の動きは全て見切っている。
Hold on.
より強い。
Okay.
諦めろ。お前の動きは全て見切っている。
そうか。でも残念だね。俺の6名。もう同じなんだよ。
これは
Bro, that was clean. That was clean. The music too. Hold on. That music that went in there with it was clean.
あれに当たったらまずいぞ。なら。
Uh-oh. What you gonna do now, Gojo?
お前を殺したくない。
They don't see this shit in like the Naruto verse because Gojo could. There we go. Gojo can bring his shit back.
領域展開。有料空想。
Damn.
現実なのか。いや、この感じ違う。まさか別空間を口寄せしたとでも言うのか。どういうことだ。
ここは無加減の内側。なあどうする？これ以上うざくしないなら見逃してあげてもいいけど。
Is it Genjutsu?
まともじゃないね。どうもすぐバテちゃうからな。カムイはあと1回。
Hold on. How come Doesn't Kakashi's eye also mess with like another dimension as well? Couldn't he have just used it like right out the back as soon as he was in there?
なら一時的にカムイ空間に封じるしかないな。これはそうか、そういうことか。
お前マジでネズミみたいにちょろちょろ逃げんな。俺と正面から勝負できねえのか。
Oh shit, Sasano. I forgot he had that too. I forgot he had that.
これマジかよ。なあ、どうする？まだ戦うの？
That was good. Dude, fan made, I'm telling you, bro. Regardless, fan made or the video that I had made talking about like AI technology like 100 years from now, fan made, whatever, bro. When fans get a hand on AI shit, it'll look better than the stuff that's been like that. Like this stuff is crazy good. But watch. Whenever people get their tools on some advanced anime, bro, it's raps. Fan made is gonna be the thing, bro. It's gonna be like I'm not into Roblox. Is it Roblox? Yeah, I'm not really into Roblox, anything like that. Which some people say to go ahead and try and play it, but I'm not into Roblox. But when I see the community, like how big it is, it's just like one big Reddit forum of content to play. Like they have like their own sub communities and shit like that. It's like there's so much. Yeah, I like how Gojo and Kakashi both amazed by each other's ability. True. Can't stress this enough. I kind of read the second comment instead of the first, but I cannot stress this enough. At this point, this guy leaves no excuses for animation studios. Like, but the one thing is like we don't know how long it took this dude to make this. Like, he's got no description in the video at all. This could have took him 5 months, you know, just for 4 minutes worth of stuff. Because it's just one person. I could be wrong. Because it's so good that I feel like it would probably take that long. I don't know what kind of tools he's using to make it, but yeah, studios they need to pick it up because they got people like this out here that if you gave them enough money, they would make these animation studios, man, give them a run for their money. All right, better get into some Annie news. All right, we are on Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 7, Part 2 cut content. Sung Jin-woo's secret revealed. No. We're on... Okay, yeah. That's Part 2. No, we're on Part 1, so we're going to redo that shit. So, let me see. Alright. Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 7, cut content. How Sung Jin-woo's S-rank reveal really meant by Annie News.
Where last episode a lot of the cut content was mainly Sung's approach to battle, here we have entire scenes ranging from a completely different outcome with Jinho and his father, all the way to Detective Beck, the full conflict with Lee Min-sung, and just a whole lot more with all the other side characters. The anime clearly chooses to focus on each of the main conflicts, but what it leaves behind in exchange is the development of everything else. I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing, but it does lead to episodes like these seeming a little rushed. You can tell they're pushing forward purely with the intent of getting to the next conflict. So, where unlike in other episodes, there'd only be minor
Yeah, we starting to get into the Chimera Ant arc. We about to have that on Saturday.
Details and scenes the anime could go without. In today's episode, there'll be a lot more substance. So, stick around for everything the anime left out from the novel and manhwa. But first, this video is sponsored by Surfshark. Why do you
need to snipe this one?
Want? So, if you're looking and mouth, a whole or any writing not only not.
Damn, this is a
19,
long snipe.
The 10th S-Rank Hunter, covering chapters 76 to 81 from the manhwa and chapters 92 to 100 from the web novel. This
you know his
episode
shit.
Can be divided into multiple sections, each involving their own portions of cut content, so the first would have to be focused on Lee Min-sung. The anime just glosses over who he is and what he was planning, but the novel really goes deep into his character and impact on Sung's assessment day.
Bro, he really did just look like a loser that just wanted some spotlight. And then that's all they did. That's all they did. They just showed him rolling up. People wanted to take pictures of him, and then Sung just outshined him, and that was it. That is literally all they did. I don't even know shit about this dude.
So, to clarify just how popular Lee Min-sung was, he was often referred to as Asia's top superstar, an iconic actor known across the globe, making this a momentous occasion simply due to how popular he was. Like, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say cameras all over the world were focused on him today. It's why he was in a car with the country's top news reporter, and it's also why the media was so eager to find out more from him. They all wanted to know his plans for once he became a hunter. For Lee, this was all a calculated move on his part though, since everything from the press conference all the way to tomorrow's headline was meticulously planned with the intent of making him look good. Even the guild he signed with was chosen solely with that purpose in mind. How does joining the Reapers Guild make him look good? Well, with the Reapers now just a shell of its former self, him joining painted the image he was willing to stand up for the underdogs. I had mentioned this in a couple episodes before, but the Reapers Guild always seemed to be getting the short end of the stick lately. Before, they were once the top guild in the country, but after Chairman Go orchestrated Beck's departure into his own guild, the Reapers had lost the status it once held so proudly.
So Beck was the biggest one in their guild, and they lost him and went downhill. They should have been treating that man right. He wouldn't have left.
That being the case, it was when Guildmaster Lim saw Beck and Choi fighting that he couldn't help but smile, since to him, he thought they were fighting over Lee. For once, it seemed like he wasn't losing out to them.
That's like,
Little
what?
did he know he was actually still 5 steps behind. That's its own separate conflict involving the guilds on a larger scale though, so to bring our focus back to Lee, he too couldn't help but smile thinking the guildmasters were fighting over him. It was enough to have him step out and begin preparations for the press conference. It was then that Sung would arrive himself, leading to a bit of confusion regarding all the commotion. What I mean is that Sung knew he could have avoided it just by using stealth or entering from the back. The reason he decided not to is because this was a date and time the association reserved in advance for him. He didn't feel like he should have to avoid the front just because all these reporters were here. He definitely didn't have to use the front door either, but it was just too easy to clear a path for himself. Shoving the reporters aside was no harder than moving a pillow. It was once Sung had gotten to the front that's when Lee's manager would step in to stop him. This confrontation didn't go down like how we saw
Boy, pluck him by the back of his shirt, flick him out of the way, bruh.
the anime though, because in the novel the manager was a lot more aggressive. As a muscular D-rank hunter himself, the manager believed this to be an opportunity to embarrass what he thought was a normal person. He would shove Sung with quite a bit of force, fully intending to knock him over and even injure him. This didn't sit too well with Sung though, since if he was just a normal person trying to make their way through, then the amount of force the manager used would have injured him for sure. He could tell from the moment the manager made contact with him. Of course, Sung didn't budge at all, so now the manager was in a pretty tough
that weak ass push boy ain't do shit.
situation. Like, Sung was
Weak ass, get your
clearly
hands off me,
emitting
boy.
an aura that dictated not to mess with.
He did that Madara whenever he got swatted with the fan by what's her name during the Shinobi Alliance War, and he was like, that's pretty much how he was feeling.
him, but at the same time, the manager's boss was right behind him. This meant he could either concede, embarrass himself, and potentially lose his job, or double down, hold the line, and risk the consequences awaiting him. Neither were great, considering Sung's gaze was scaring the life out of him right now. That's when Chairman Go would come out himself, not only saving the manager from international embarrassment, but also reminding Lee who it was that gave him permission to have this press conference in the first place. He wasn't upset that Lee started earlier than he should have, just annoyed that he was making trouble for some. This was quite the peculiar situation for the press, since the chairman rarely, if ever, greeted someone in person. Even for the employees who'd been working with him for years,
He got
not
egoed
once
again.
had they ever seen Mr. Go personally receive a guest before. It didn't matter that they were powerful businessmen or high-up officials of government, the chairman would always be greeted by them, not the other way around. So, for him to be doing so now for someone so young, Well, that was clearly something out of the ordinary. It made the press wonder who it was the chairman was meeting with, creating a noisy environment no longer suitable for a press conference. This obviously went to piss off Lee since all his work was about to go up in smoke. Like, the cameras were being packed up and people leaving, so the only thing he could do to reverse it was make...
That boy get mad. That's funny. Oh my god, bro. They got all these characters in here like... Well, he's an actor. So, damn. They gave him a real fragile ego.
a statement, one that would give the press exactly what they were looking for. He knew if he shared what his future held with regards to his status as a hunter, then they were sure to stay since that's why they were here to begin with. He just needed to start his assessment early since to reveal his rank before that would implicate him as the manipulator he is. That's when Wu would step up to stop him, leading Lee to threaten him in a way that revealed quite a bit of information about him. As it turns out, Lee's dad was the vice chairman of Yujin Construction. The company we know is owned by Jinho's dad and the company that also happens to be the association's #1 sponsor. That being the case, Lee was threatening to expose the association for treating him poorly, asking if Wu and the chairman would be able to handle the fallout. Wu would simply reply with yes, fully accepting Lee's bluff for what it was.
Ooh.
He would then stare him down with an aura far
And
more
he
intense
and he almost a S rank, right? He's like on the cusp.
than the manhwa, leading Lee to have to come up with a different plan. It's here the story switches over to Sung's reassessment, so to
Yeah,
focus
check
on
that little
what was
boy.
cut from that, we first have a bit of insight on what Chairman Go was thinking. He was feeling incredibly excited since it was just recently that Wu had recounted what Sung had done for the Hunters Guild. It was a debriefing that confirmed everything he initially thought about Sung. The way he cleared the dungeon solo without asking for anything in return really went to highlight exactly the type of person Sung was. It showed he wasn't lying when he said he just wanted to hunt monsters here. So, if he truly didn't care about anything but fighting, then Chairman Go was ready to support Sung in every manner conceivable. It wasn't often an S-rank hunter's goal lined up perfectly with
He was cold in that goddamn arena.
Of course, Mr. Go still wished he could bring Sung in, but he knew doing so would just be a waste. He was well aware Sung's powers were way too strong to keep outside the dungeon. Now, aside from the fact Choi and Beck were waiting here for an hour, Sung's reassessment consisted of one shadow.
Bro,
only.
imagine that, man. Imagine being escorted by the chairman and having 2 S-rank hunters waiting on you to see your full assessment because they both want to recruit you. Actually, all 3 of them want to recruit. Love to see it, man. Love to see it.
Well, in the manhwa he summoned everyone, but in the novel he kept it limited to his weakest soldier. He didn't want to overwhelm the examiner with the intense pressure some of his more powerful soldiers emitted. That's when Sung would declare he could summon 100 more of them, leading the chairman to think it was 100 more of these soldiers only. With this being at most the equivalent of a B-rank hunter, that went to significantly reduce the full assessment of Sung's power here. Sure,
But bro, when you think about it, he is letting people know that they can see that he can summon 100 B ranks. Bro, 100 B ranks. Somebody in chat, let me know what is the equivalent of B ranks it would take to make up 1 A rank. And that's how many Jinwoo can do. Like, damn. As his bluff, clearly, you know what I mean?
it still made him more powerful than the entire combat force of many large guilds currently out there, but that was assuming...
Oh, my bad.
every one of
I
his
was
summons
yapping.
only a
He explained it.
That went to significantly reduce the full assessment of Sung's power here. Sure, it still made him more powerful than the entire combat force of many large guilds currently out there, but
Okay.
that was assuming every one of his summons was only as strong as this soldier. It didn't take into account anyone else. So, Sung's power was still quite the mystery, but what the examiner saw was enough to classify him as a mage-type hunter. The events after the assessment were pretty much the same, except when Beck had warned Sung not to leave, Sung assumed it was him implying that he would regret it. He thought they were referencing the massive offer he was leaving behind, not the sea of press waiting for him on the outside. It was a scene where his reaction in the manhwa was
Told you.
pretty funny. As for how the
And they took it out. They take out all the funny shit. Like, leave the funny shit in there, bro.
press ended up like this, well, that takes us to a scene from 10 minutes prior. While Sung was showcasing his abilities to the examiner, Lee was saving face making the announcement we saw in the anime. He dropped the bomb that he was retiring and made clear regardless of his rank, he would fully commit to being a hunter. This was to make it seem like he cared about his people and his country, but what it really was a lie to divert attention from those complaining he was avoiding his mandatory military service, as is required for.
I know when I don't be liking characters, but I guess I don't like him a lot more than the S rank fire mage dude, the one that's supposed to be called like the deadliest weapon. That guy, I'm starting to like him a little bit more than, you know. Actually, I like him a lot more than this dude. This dude, I don't like him now.
For every adult male in South Korea, Lee was using his father's status to avoid what would normally be 2 years of
Entitled, bro.
So, where before the media was spotlighting something
Trying to call his
obviously
daddy.
terrible for his brand, this was the perfect way to reverse it.
Whatever.
By retiring from acting and joining the Reapers Guild, not only did it make it seem like he was descending the summit just to protect the people, but it also came with a whole lot of money and the reputation of being the Reaper Guild's most famous hunter. So, to Lee, this was a win-win-win for him. He was essentially achieving a lifetime guarantee against criticism. It was right at the climax of his reveal, though, that reporters' phones would start to ring one after the other. They were all receiving the news of the country's 10th S rank, all while slowly piecing
Why the
together
hell
the
looks so
mystery-
pissed? Like, it doesn't even look shocked. Like, it doesn't look like a shocked face. It just looks like
They
a
were all
pissed off
receiving the
face.
news of-
Look. What? That can't be another one. You know, they're just pissed. They don't even look shocked.
the country's 10th S rank, all while slowly piecing together it was the mystery person they saw earlier. As for how everyone
Like an
reacted
outrage
so quickly,
rather than a surprise.
It turns out the Hunter Association uses a dedicated app to deliver important information in real time. Usually the app alerted users to the location of A-rank dungeons or gates close to a dungeon break, but today the app was used to confirm Sung's status as an S-rank hunter. It was updated the moment Sung's new license was made. So, knowing Sung was on the inside, the press was now trying to rush the building, all while Lee was stuck figuring out why no one was paying attention.
Yo, lame ass boy. Lame ass boy. That is all the karma that was cooked up for him from being a spoiled ass little brat, bro. To get just egoed by Sung through an app. Through an app. Like, Sung didn't even do nothing, bro. He really did not do nothing. That app did it. That app really just took his clout.
To him anymore. He had even tried talking to the reporter who was previously creating headlines for him, but all eyes were focused on Sung now. So that was the full extent of Lee's involvement here. It makes sense why the anime decided not to include everything about him, but if they did, it would have just served to add to the excitement. All he is a foil
'Cause he just
for
looked like a
Sung's
random.
character.
That's it. That's all
A
he
point
looked
that
like.
was still made clear with the abridged version we got in the anime. Now, the next major cut content comes in the form of Jinho's conversation with his father, because not only did the anime leave several important parts of it out, it also chose to adapt it differently. What I mean is that the outcome of this conversation wasn't the same as what we saw here.
I gotta keep pausing. But fuck, man, we gonna get whatever. We gonna get into
To
it.
start it from the very beginning, though,
Don't worry,
it was
we're gonna
right
get
as
to it
they were
later.
about to start discussing Sung that Mr. Yu would receive the news about Sung himself. A phone call would leave him looking genuinely surprised, after which he would put on the news for Jinho to see. On it was a Sung looking very clearly annoyed. Though his face was visibly emotionless, Jinho had been around Sung long enough to know what his expressions really meant. What went to shock Jinho the most, though, was the news that Sung was an S rank. Remember, Jinho only knew Sung was great. He didn't know that Sung was S rank great. So, to see that this was what Sung's true power was, well, that was as much a shock to him as it was to everyone else. He was also incredibly proud that this was a person he got to fight alongside with. Now, I don't know why the anime decided not to include the real reason why Sung didn't join Jinho's guild, but it's more than just wanting to fight to become stronger.
Because all they want to do is keep people's attention on the flashy fight scenes, all the colors and the lights flashing on their screen, just keep everybody locked in because everybody's so goddamn brain dead they can't even understand or the whole concept of the story. Right? That's why. Some of the new anime fans, all they're in for is just the fight scenes. They don't care about the story. That's why animators, they save time and cut out backstory because they think most people are just emotionless and have no idea what type of content this is for the story, the main story.
Some of you may consider this a spoiler, but if we're gonna fully understand Jinho's decision here,
minor
as well as
spoilers.
Sung's own decisions later, you definitely need to know the full context behind this. So, I'm sure this was pretty obvious, but the reason Sung declined is because he's planning to make his own guild. And the reason Jinho declined his father is because Sung had asked him to become Vice Guild Master. It's before Jinho would reveal his intent to accept that offer, though, that Mr. Yu would first show a rare expression of content. It was a change of face so unexpected that when it did happen, it usually spoke volumes. Here it was so strange that Jinho couldn't even look at it. Why the smile then? Well, despite Jinho not being able to secure Sung into their guild, what he achieved by befriending Sung was something his father hadn't been able to do himself yet. It was an action that fully aligned with the true intent behind the Yujin Guild's creation. An important bit of context the anime never explained to us. So,
Of
why
course,
did Mr.
bro.
Yu really
Tell me what the anime didn't tell me that I completely missed that I need to know. Come on, Annie News, let me know.
want to create a guild? Well, it wasn't to make more money or to compete in the industry, but was instead to protect both himself and his family. In a world where hunters were growing stronger by the day, to him it wasn't enough to rely on the rule of law or government anymore. I mean, with some hunters being as strong as an entire nation's military and others ruling like kings in certain smaller countries, it was only a matter of time before a new world order was formed. At least that's what it seemed like anyway. So, in order to get ahead of the curve before that happened, Jinho's father wanted to gather hunters he could trust. If he could put together a guild and fill it with hunters he could rely on, then that to him was the best way to protect those he cared about. For Jinho, such words were certainly heavy, but at the same time he couldn't help but feel happy about them. Reason being that this would be the first time his father was showing visible consideration and compassion. It was a side of him he'd honestly never seen before, one that actually looked out for the family.
And that scared
The
his
smile was
son
just
like
the
bad. He's like,
usual
what
talk,
the?
indicating
what's wrong with
approval
you?
towards Jinho already finding a hunter he could trust. By becoming close friends with Sung, Jinho had proved he was capable of finding hunters he could rely on. It was a test that finally made clear Jinho could run the Yushin Guild. So, with that being his to run the way he wanted, he would need to find more reliable hunters just like Sung, then turn them into people he could trust in the future. It was all because they would without a doubt become the most valuable assets he would end up having. It didn't matter how much money him or his father had, because the world was clearly leaning towards a new type of currency, one that was dictated by power. Now, this was certainly a happy moment for the both of them, but it wouldn't last long as Jinho had already decided to join another guild. Despite the Yushin Guild already having several S ranks in the final stages of negotiations, and despite it clearly being on the fast track to becoming the best and biggest guild in the entire country, Jinho was prepared to forego all of it for Sung. It was a decision his father was incredibly disappointed by. Nevertheless, Jinho was still happy since this was the decision he wanted to make. He had no regrets making it whatsoever. Such a decision
I remember
did
that.
come with significant consequences though, because unlike how the anime states Jinho left on his own accord, his father had actually kicked him out and cancelled all his bank accounts. It's not like he
Oh,
lived with his
hell
parents,
nah,
but the
bruh.
apartment he did live in was owned.
They did him dirty, dog. They have. Why he do him like that? He was smiling at him all happy and proud, and then he was like, you know what, son? Good luck on your own ventures with Sung. He's got so much money, you don't need any of ours. Even though I don't think he'll give you any. We froze all your bank accounts and took all your belongings.
Owned by his father.
Damn.
So, Mr. Yu took away Jinho's house as well as all the money he had
I didn't think he really took all his stuff, bro. He took
access to. This leads to a completely
He took
different
this man's
reaction
house.
from Jinho here, because where in the anime he shows up at Sung's place all happy and determined, in the manhwa and novel he was actually crying. I know I'm skipping past a lot of cut content from in between these scenes, but I just want to make the whole Jinho
That's wild,
storyline
bruh.
as coherent as possible. So
What?
Jinho would show up to Sung's asking for a place to stay, only to get the door shut in his face before he could even finish. Sung had zero intent of letting Jinho stay in the same house as his sister, instead forcing him to go and find a motel. This would be until he could find some office space for his own guild, but there was very little compassion from Sung in the manhwa and novel. None of this brotherly love like how we saw in the anime.
So Jinwoo ain't a good fucking dude. I kept saying he was a good fucking dude here, good fucking dude there. This man shut the door on this man who kept his secret the whole time and gave him a job. And you can't even get the dog a place to stay? My God, bro.
In fact, Sung wouldn't even tell Jinna who it was when she asked. He instead opted to call Jinho a stranger he'd never met before. He insisted he was just some random person
That's
showing
crazy.
up at the wrong address.
That's crazy.
So, I couldn't tell you why myself, but for some reason Sung really wanted to hide his association to him. It's for that reason why I think the anime presents this scene a little bit better, since shutting out Jinho doesn't really seem like something Sung would do here. I mean, the man literally just gave up a multi-billion-dollar business opportunity. The least
That's what I'm
Sung can
saying.
do in return is provide him a place to stay, especially after
That's
all
what
the
I'm
talk about
saying.
being brothers at the restaurant here.
Like, I don't get it.
When the story goes
Oh, what's up,
back to
Jafel?
Jinho's father later,
What's up, bro?
despite his wife suggesting he was being a bit too harsh, Mr. Yu fully agreed every choice had responsibilities and consequences.
You on
In the
break?
case, this
working?
was
You
just
busy?
the result of Jinho's choice. As frustrated as Mr. Yu seemed, though, his wife wasn't so sure he was actually angry. Reason being that, despite all the talk, his expression still looked as if he was pleased in some way. Yes, he was
Chillin'.
upset since Jinho rebelled against him,
Hey, get on let's get on Marvel Rivals, bro. Let's get on Marvel Rivals.
but at the same time he wasn't unhappy. No, he couldn't help
Monster Hunter.
but be a little content
Oh,
with the way
yeah.
Jinho showed conviction towards something he was
Might have to
passionate
play that, you know?
So, really, Mr. Yu was only upset at Jinho saying no to him because
I haven't played Monster Hunter since the what was it, Monster Hunter World? Like the one that came out like 4 years ago, something like that. That's the last one I played.
the lifestyle he built was no different than the one he had in his business. To him, orders were meant to be followed, and for anyone to say no to them, well, that was unacceptable.
Don't worry.
That being the case, his reaction to Jinho was essentially the equivalent of him firing an employee. It was
That's
just-
cold. He fucking put his own son out. Oh my God. Because his son messed up that whole business contract. He kicked him out, took his house, took his dog, took his car, took all his money. Bro, after he done already paid him, he paid him all the money, then took it back. Damn. And then Junwoo, bro, can't trust nobody. This man's on the street homeless. But yeah, Marvel Rivals. Couldn't do it. I want to see that last game that made you quit.
natural way to respond for him. The
I wanna see
reaction
that
of
game.
Someone who treated his family the same way he treated a business. It was then that the first symptoms of the eternal slumber would take effect, but rather than talk about that now, I'm gonna save that, the rest of the press conference, Beck's sleuthing, the auction house, and the dungeon for another video.
I ain't gonna say he didn't deserve it. Nah, I'm lying. He deserved it. He deserved that sleep shit. He deserved that sleep shit for putting his son out like that. Literally just treated his son like it was a whole business transaction. You don't throw him out that? You don't throw him out like that? Like he's replaceable? That's your own blood. And he didn't even do nothing. He just wanted to make you proud and shit. And he finally thought he found a friend. But Junwoo just put him out on the street. Like, damn, this dude's life sucks. Like, his dad got sleep sickness now. He homeless. He went from billionaire to nothing. That is crazy. That'd make a motherfucker jump off some shit. Going from $1 billion to 0? Come on. And then your homie don't got you? Bro. His dad deserved that karma.
If I continued talking about the cut content from all that, then this video would be 40 minutes and I wouldn't be finished until Saturday. So expect a part 2 to this episode likely on Friday or Saturday. I do hope you enjoyed this one.
Oh, that
There
finally
was
makes
certainly
sense
quite a lot to talk about.
to who she
It
is.
might not be focused on Sung, but these scenes definitely serve to develop the world around him. So, let me know what you thought down in the comments, and if you liked the video, then consider leaving a like and subscribing.
Dead. I would absolutely love to listen to a 40-minute any news video. Just saying. Anyone else? Yes. I'm gonna say it. All for the 40-minute. Like that bit. Alright. We ain't gonna waste their time. We gonna get into the next one. You know what I'm saying? So we was on, what episode was that? Go to videos. Oh, we gonna go to part 2. So alright, so we're on Annie News' part 2 of Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 7. I'm probably just going to put these together into one video because I agree, and just like anyone else, hey, Annie News, if you end up watching this reaction just to make sure if you want to give me a copyright flag or not, I say go with the 40-minute episode, bro. It's good. I'll watch it. I watch that bit. Even if you copyright that bit, bro, I watch the episode, bro, because I'm getting a lot of information out of these cut content videos rather than, you know, spending the time myself to go read the manhwa up to its point right now. I need to go back and watch your season 1 stuff. So once season 2 is over, I'm watching all the season 1 stuff.
Sung's return to the tower dungeon was preceded by a lot. There was a momentary truce between Beck and Choi. Beck would make a discovery beyond what we saw in the anime. Sung would find himself in debt hours after becoming an S rank, then the ant here signifies a lot more trouble than you might think. There's also an additional
his system currency doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying, in the real world. It's different. It's totally different. So yeah, he needs some money.
Reason for Sung's night watch, as well as
other
other smaller details adding to the story. So, as promised, here's part 2 to everything the anime left out from Season 2, Episode 7. All the differences between the anime, manhwa, and web novel.
I can't believe they cut out so much content. Annie News has enough time to make a part 1 and 2 video of the stuff they cut out. That is ridiculous. They cut out 40 minutes worth of content. That's crazy.
But first, allow me to switch things over to the world of Haikyuu because today's sponsor comes in the form of a refreshingly new RPG plunging you right into it.
Hey, go support the ad, y'all.
So,
go watch it.
For Haikyuu recruit Tikum, Sung Spout Diamond.
There you go.
Now, to pick things up from where we left them, Sung's bout with the press had actually been interrupted by a call from Jinna. You'd think he wouldn't even notice here, but because he was concerned it might be an emergency, Sung answered right in front of everyone. It turns out it was just Jinna.
Oh, his sister.
As to what was going on.
See that?
Reporters would then bombard Sung with question after question, leading him to get so annoyed that he was genuinely considering summoning shadows to clear a path for him. He believed Tanker might be the most appropriate.
No, bro, they would have killed somebody.
The that Beck would offer to help Sung get away from here, but what we didn't see was the underlying reason for that offer. It wasn't just Beck offering out of the goodness of his heart, but rather a clever plan developed between him and Choi. You see, since it wasn't just them that were aware of Sung's power anymore, both knew it was only a matter of time before the other S-rank guildmasters would come rushing in trying to recruit Sung themselves.
Offering bags worth of money, offering him checks, bro. They gonna try to offer him that much money.
Being the case, in order to avoid more competition and limit Sung only to themselves, Beck and Choi agreed to a truce of sorts.
I bet Beck and Choi ain't got no bitches either in their damn guild, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, they gonna come up to Junwoo like, yo, we got money, we got bitches, we got what you want. The US gonna roll in and try to get him?
They decided
It's
they would
up.
pool their resources
up.
together, escort Sung back home privately, then use said time to discuss offers with him. At least that way, it would keep the competition between the two of them. The reason either still believed they even had a chance to begin with was because to them a guild would always be absolutely necessary for him. It didn't matter what abilities he had, because at the end of the day, he wouldn't be able to tackle high-ranking dungeons without one. So it's for that reason Choi and
He
Beck
could just go
believed
alone
if
with
they
them,
played
with
their
his
cards right,
summons.
at least one of them could acquire Sung. That's when Beck would offer assistance, all with the approval of Choi behind him, promising to use their expertise to get Sung out of here. Sung could tell this wasn't an empty promise, but it was completely unnecessary given what we saw next. Now, if you're wondering how it was Beck was able to get an accurate read of Sung's power here, it was all because right as he was about to jump, Sung had released a good portion of the magical energy he'd been concealing. Though the moment was barely perceptible due to how brief it was, the incredible magic power Beck was exposed to caused him to activate his Eyes of the Beast ability instinctively. It was a
Oh,
special skill which allowed him
shit.
to accurately read any person's power.
Come on, why are they cutting this stuff out, bro? Beck is like my second favorite character in the whole series, pretty much. Actually, Cap, I take that back. It's Igris, Sung, and then Beck. Like, those are like my top 3 favorite characters right now. And the fact that they're doing this man a disservice by not showing scenes like this. Like, I had no idea that when Sung just jumped away, he emitted so much power that this dude's eyes changed because it just triggered some shit. Like, come on, bro. Why are you cutting that out? Like, leave them. Bro, that would have been like a cool ass little moment too. Come
He
on.
had done the same back at the Red Gate, and now his eyes were telling him Sung was stronger.
See, bro, put
So,
them in,
where
bro.
Before Beck knew he could fight Sung, albeit at the cost of a limb or two, now Sung's power dwarfed him completely. His magic now
Oh, he
was
did do it.
incomparably greater.
I apologize. I thought he didn't do it. I thought they showed they didn't do it. But they didn't go into detail like of what that meant. Like how are we supposed to know? Like he didn't even say nothing. It could have put in like a little quotations that it activated. Like they could have said something. They didn't say
than
nothing.
his magic before. It was an observation which would lead him to the conclusion Sung could level up. This leads to a rather interesting
I remember that.
with Beck later, since with this new information that Sung had grown stronger,
He said he can
was
keep
now
getting
eager
stronger.
to learn
Yep.
everything he could about him. That being the case, Beck would lock himself into his office, then immediately start searching for everything he could on hunters who could grow stronger. It was the only thing he could do given his clues were limited.
Show it, man.
3 hours would then be spent searching every resource available, including a special website only hunters of the highest rank had access to. As he expected, though, not a single thing could be found on what he was looking for. It was a futile effort that led him to think maybe he was overreacting. Or maybe
Nope, trust your
Sung just
gut.
wasn't a hunter at all. With his existence defying every notion society had come to develop about hunters, Beck was starting to think perhaps Sung was just someone blessed by the gods. He truly had no idea what he was dealing with anymore. It was right as he was about to give up, though, that in a last-ditch effort, he would simply do the equivalent of Googling hunter level up ability. At first, nothing in particular came up, but after 5 more pages of scrolling, an insignificant forum post would catch Beck's eye here. It was an anonymous post on a public hunter forum.
Who made
one
this?
That read like this. Now, for those who watched my cut content from Season 1, Episode 3, you'd recognize this as the post Sung made back when he first...
Bro, I'll lose my mind, dog. If I woke up and I have a fucking menu that tells me like people's levels and stuff, I'd be like, oh my god. Like I really am in a Matrix, some type of video game. If the world, if this is exactly how the world is, please tap me into it, please. Let me see the menu so I can figure out what the fuck I need to do. Like, let me level up, bro. Let me level up out of this shit, dog. Let me level up my life, bro. Like this shit is crazy. Like, God keep giving me all these trials and tribulations, bro, and all these struggles. Like, let me level up from him at least. Let me get some experience. Some experience that pay these bills, bro.
got his abilities. So, what does Beck do now that he's stumbled upon it? Well, he would first call on since
He activated
knew this
the
was
eyes.
something huge, then have him cross-reference the date of the post with what Sung was doing that day. It only took a few moments for On to search Sung's file, after which he would reveal Sung had woken up from the hospital that day. It was news that confirmed a non-zero chance of Sung being the one who made this post. So, Beck then went to investigate Sung's file himself, examining his hunter history in its entirety. What he noticed was a very peculiar change starting immediately after the Double Dungeon incident. To Beck, this was nothing more than a vague memory, but seeing it now did remind him he was actually present that day. He may not have known who Sung was back then, but what he did know was that from that point on,
He didn't even
Sung
recognize
was
him.
completely different. Like, where before all Sung did was help out in the lowest rank association raids, to start freelancing and even clear several C rank gates after, well, that clearly indicated something went to change him inside the Double Dungeon. It was a clear shift in hunter activity that implied this wasn't your typical reawakening.
Show one.
To Beck, this was a hunter who, in only a few months, grew from the E rank to the S rank. Still, there was no way to fully confirm whether this anonymous poster really was Sung, but if their words were to be believed and Sung's power grew the way the post described, then it was truly unfathomable how much stronger Sung could become. It was a revelation that led Beck to the conclusion recruiting Sung was impossible. He now finally understood.
Never give up!
why it was
Never give up,
Sung's
Beck!
disinterest
You
in
can
him.
do it. You can do it.
All it really came down to was a simple matter of why join a guild when you can easily create your own. I mean, with the powers Sung had, it really was only a matter of time before his guild would become the best. So that for Beck was a truly disheartening thought to dwell on. Such a matter quickly became an afterthought though, because when Beck started to consider the true impact of a hunter who could grow infinitely stronger, he knew it was just a matter of time before the entire world would be focused on him. Forget the impact on the global hunter community as a whole, Sung's existence was sure to change the world as he knew it. So it was for that reason that Beck knew he needed to talk to Sung more than ever now. The thing is, if he wouldn't even talk to him for such ludicrous offers, then it was likely he wouldn't talk to him for anything else. The hardest part was for sure going to be
Ego
getting
of death.
face to face with him. On still hadn't yet given up on recruiting Sung himself though, so there was a
See
funny
that?
scene in
Don't
the
give up.
manhwa where he was camped outside his apartment. Now, I can understand why the anime decided not to include all this, but it really does make Beck's knowledge so much more impactful. Like, where the anime kind of disregards what's probably the biggest revelation in Hunter society ever, the novel portrays what I think is an accurate reaction to it. The way it loops back to an event all the way from the beginning of the series too, serves to make this scene so much more interesting. It also highlights just how insightful Beck really is. In any case, it's before we head back to the auction house.
See, it's like they're cutting all depth of his character out. Quit! When season 3 comes back in, or actually before they end this season, they better do all the finishing touches and put everything in these last episodes that actually gives Beck some justice, bro. I'm literally out here just like justice for
That
Beck.
in the manhwa,
Oh,
a
what the
panel
hell?
would show Hwang Dong-soo's reaction to the news as well. We
Alright.
would see that Sung was still alive, and that would remind us the conflict with them is still ongoing. Now, the auction house contains one of the bigger portions of cut content from the episode, but it's also the least important. That being the
Alright.
case, rather than go through it detail by detail, I'm instead just gonna give you a more summarized version. So, Sung would take a taxi straight to the auction house from the press conference.
That nigga coulda
and the Tower
jumped.
Dungeon was his #1 priority.
He could have jumped there.
It's here the taxi driver could tell that Sung was a hunter, so just like any normal person dealing with a hunter, he was extra careful when it came to Sung's mood. He didn't want to get on Sung's bad side since there were many hunters whose personalities could easily lead to incidents. Sung would just spend the duration of the
Fragile.
ride on his phone, scrolling through social media to see his name was everywhere. It was pretty weird since this wasn't the same response when Cha got announced as
He
an
on the
S-rank
big
2
screen,
years
bro.
ago. As it turns out, she was able to request that the association keep her details confidential. It was a privilege Sung could have asked for himself, but didn't end up doing since he didn't even know it was an option. That's why
Yeah, he
every
brand new to
reporter
all of
seemed
this.
to know all about him. They all had open access to his public hunter records. So, Sung would request for that confidentiality online, then call the auction house and prep them for the appraisal of an artifact they couldn't help but be suspicious of. In fact, if it hadn't been for Sung's newly announced S rank, any other hunter would have been laughed at and hung up on. So, Sung knew this was the exact moment he got reevaluated for. It was also those at the auction house would have to take him seriously. Even then, the appraisers still didn't believe him because knowing what he knew about how artifacts were made, even the world's best forger using the best materials and putting their entire soul into it could at best make an artifact amplifying power by 50%. Such were the limits given even the most ideal circumstances. Since Sung was a premium client who was sure to have business with them in the future though, the appraiser decided to continue with his request anyway. It didn't matter how impossible it was for such an artifact to exist, they needed to oblige since Sung was an S rank. Now, the whole appraisal process was actually rather extensive, but to keep it brief, there were two ways that they tested it. First, they would use a B rank mage hunter as a base, get a numerical reading of his power before the orb, then have him hold the orb and take his reading again. This was to verify the orb did what Sung said, and it did in fact boost the hunter's base reading by 100%. Numbers were one thing, but to actually show that boost in action was another. So, with many clients preferring to see what the artifact they're buying does, the second stage of the assessment involved recording a physical test. The hunter would first activate a blizzard spell without the orb, then maintain the spell, pick up the orb, and display the results after. For this case in particular, the hunter had to cancel his spell almost immediately because to continue this enhanced blizzard would have frozen the entire room instantly. It had once again proven this was in fact the invaluable artifact Sung said it was.
And it has unlimited uses. It has unlimited uses.
The appraiser laid his hands on it. For the first time ever, he wanted to try and steal it. Had it not been an S-rank hunter providing it to him, then there was a good chance he actually might have tried to. In any case, the appraiser was eager to at least proceed with the sale since the 5% commission on it was sure to make him and the others rich. Sung first asked to peruse the artifacts they had to buy though, since he wanted to make sure that they had what he needed. As it turns out, the type he was looking for was actually one of the most common out there. He just couldn't find it online due to how expensive they were. So, in the end, Sung would be able to buy the artifacts without needing to sell anything. He just needed to use his own daggers as collateral, then take out a small loan from the auction house. It's pretty funny since Sung hasn't even been an S rank for an entire day, yet somehow he's already found himself in debt. It's back
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Would find reporters everywhere, but Jinna would prevent him from doing anything about it. As much as he wanted to have them leave, Jinna wouldn't allow it since Sung was already getting hate online. The public didn't really like the way Sung disregarded the reporters at the first press conference, and now he was getting heat for being a bit arrogant. Luckily, this attention wasn't gonna last for much longer, since as soon as Sung's request for confidentiality was processed, the reporters would get word to stay away from Sung. So really, this was nothing but a temporary problem. Fast forward to when Sung is setting up the Night Watch, and this would actually be something he did earlier on in the novel. It was after he'd just met with the chairman that Sung would come home to find his neighborhood way too dark. It's then that he would remember a case of ongoing serial murders, some of which were happening nearby. Since the victims of those were all women, it was here that Sung decided he should set something up to protect Jinna. She did frequent these roads late at night herself, so there was a good chance that she could become a target. Of course, he personally couldn't just sit around and guard her, so that's when Sung came up with the idea to have patrols. It was also he could keep Jinna safe from any potential serial killers.
That's crazy. That's gonna be tight if they tie into something that's going on, or if it's written in the manhwa where one of his soldiers catches the killer. That's gonna be tight.
He also believed
it's like a hero killer or something,
back to the community. So,
or a hunter killer.
Sense of satisfaction, Sung couldn't help but smirk at the idea of providing S-rank defense services for free. If anyone found out that that was the case, then he was sure the value of his entire neighborhood would skyrocket. As for the soldiers protecting Jinna personally, they were strong enough to handle up to an A-rank hunter. So, unless the killer was a high-ranked hunter himself, Jinho was sure to be safe from pretty much everything. Now, there's two more important things I want to cover before getting to the tower dungeon, and the first is Mr. Yu's eternal slumber.
He deserved
This
that.
was a death sentence.
Hey, I don't know. I might be a little too harsh, bro, but nah, bro. You had no compassion for your son. You kicked him out on the street. He could have died. He could have been killed by that serial murderer, even though he only go after women. But still, his life could have been in danger living on the street. Who knows? Somebody crazy out there could have tried probably kill him because he ain't got like no magical power. He need the suits all the time. They could have killed him. Fuck it. Fuck, man. Get this man out here.
In more ways than one, since not only did the eternal slumber eventually put you into a coma-like state indefinitely,
Get that man outta here,
it
bro.
also drained a person's life force away. Unless the afflicted was hooked up to one of these magic life support machines, the disease would without fail eventually kill them. So it was before these machines had been discovered that the eternal slumber was 100% fatal. It probably still was, considering that not a single person had ever woken up from it. This would lead the doctor to make the absurd suggestion of never seeing Jinho again, but that was a burden Mr. Yu wasn't willing to put on Jinho. As a father who cared deeply for his family, he would never want to impede his son's life that way. Plus, with more and more hunters being
Alright.
every day, as well as mana becoming more commonplace in everyday appliances,
Why they be making him look like a total ass and then making him look good? Cause I just be thinking this guy has like no remorse for his son.
Mr. Yu knew his exposure to magic was going to increase no matter what. So, with society moving forward and him being left behind, what this was simply natural selection. To Mr. Yu, it felt like he was being culled. Even so, that still wasn't enough to make him give up yet. As someone who was never the victim and never lost, this was simply another challenge for him to overcome. It was no different from any of the others in his life. Well, at least that's how he wanted to feel anyway. Now, the other important scene I wanted to cover was this right here involving the ant. This was a remote island off the coast of Japan, and these two were the only
The Chimera
people on
Ant
it.
arc.
As a low D and E rank, their jobs weren't to fight in gates and clear them, but was instead to make the rounds, talk to the community, and find out if there was a gate. It was of the utmost importance to locate them as fast as possible. Should one remain hidden and lead to a dungeon break, then every resident of the island was sure to be killed from it. That being the case, both these hunters were well aware of what was at stake here. It's for that reason they would make their rounds every single day, talk to the residents to see if they saw anything, then use a manometer to determine if there were any changes in magical energy. It's once a gate was found that hunters from the outside would have to be contacted, after which it would take 3 days for them to get organized and get here. So, with 3 days being the time it took to get ready, that meant these two needed to find the gate within 3 days of its appearance. It was...
What's up, Gabby? What's up, Gabby? What's up? How you been, bro? How you been? Oh, my bad. You been playing Rivals too? Marvel Rivals? My homie, he got off, bro, too. I'm telling you, that game, there's something wrong with that game. That game be making people quit. You haven't been playing? Okay. Don't spend too much time on there. Do not get addicted to it. It's tough because I be wanting to play, but I know what's going to happen if I play. I know some BS going to happen. Always. I always know some BS going to happen. But yeah, we just watching some Solo Leveling. So we reacted to Kakashi and Gojo duking it out. That fight never finished. It's to be continued. But now we watching Solo Leveling cut content, which they cut out a lot of content, by the way. So much content from episode 7 that it needed a part 1 and 2. That much they didn't cut out. That's crazy. They need to cut. They need to chill out. They need to cutting the content out.
their responsibility as the only two hunters present. Well, it was up until this moment. To finally switch things over to the tower dungeon now, that's when the story starts to get back on pace again. Not too much was different, but there are a few details worth mentioning. Like, Sung was happy to be back at a place where he could cut loose without worry, but the difficulty was going to increase exponentially from here. His new quest filled him with excitement, since with each of his other class skills being indispensable, there was no doubt that this new one would be too. In the manhwa, Tusk looked absolutely incredible, and his attack had killed enough high-ranking demons to level up Sung twice.
Dang.
So his stats were sitting pretty now at this.
Dang!
And
Sung level 81. Job. The Monarch of Shadows. Title Conqueror of Adversity. +1. HP 24k. Magic power 5k. Fatigue 0. He accumulated no fatigue at this point. Strength is at 86, health 186, health 145, agility 176, intelligence 189. My dog got the brains, bruh. He got all them brain powers, bruh. Sense 126, AP 0. Physical damage reduction 46%. Passive skills unknown, max level. Why is that unknown? Why is that passive skill unknown? What are they hiding? Tenacity level 1, advanced dagger technique level 2. Active skills, speed level, bloodlust, camouflage, critical attack, dagger toss, and the commander's touch. I thought it was commander's hand. It was commander's touch. So he's level 81, right? And he's got about 2, 4, 6, 7. He's got like 800 points from 800 points of skills just from level 81. Damn.
with his
They be rewarding them with them level
that
ups.
brought his MP to over 5,000 now. I know that may seem like a lot compared to what it was before, but with the way his skills were improving, Sung knew he'd need a whole lot more. Like, if he wanted to infinitely revive the number of soldiers he was expecting to have later on, 5,000 mana certainly wasn't going to cut it.
Yeah, he gonna need 100.
With intelligence being the only way to improve his class skills,
He gonna need 100,000.
was simply a byproduct of improving that. As he was now, though, he was capable of extracting up to 820 shadows at any given time, but only allowed to store 155 of them. His current army consisted of 127. Unfortunately, the Orb of Avarice did nothing to improve those, so that's why Sung felt it was better in Tusk's hands. Now, Sung wasn't the only one leveling up here, as with each passing day, his soldiers grew stronger too. In fact, a Shadow-like tank had leveled up 10 times already. It and the others were leveling up faster than he was. Getting to floor 80 was pretty smooth sailing, but it's after that that things started to get a bit tricky. That's where I'm gonna end things off, so next episode I'm sure we'll get to cover the rest of the tower dungeon.
Look at him.
That, and, you know, the true
He was feeling good that he could
So, let me know what you thought down
bully
in the
her.
comments, and if you liked the video, then leave a like and consider subscribing.
I like the video.
Until next time, though.
I am subscribed. I'm gonna like it right now. Yo, subscribe to Annie News for all your cut content and other anime needs. But this is the only reason why I ended up following this account, because they got some really good cut content videos. I'm telling you. You know, we about to get into this episode 8. Going back to the page. We're gonna check out episode 8, boy. Cut content episode 8. I think this is the episode of the fight, bruh. This was the fight. This was the Baron fight. I'm a little scared. I'm scared to see like what is cut from this, because it's just gonna piss me off, bro. It's just gonna piss me off finding out what they done cut from this whole fight. Like, let's get into it.
We are on a one-stop train to Jeju Island, and there is absolutely nothing stopping it. Along with it comes the biggest change solo leveling will make, since the plan Japan has with South Korea differs massively depending on whether you're reading the novel, manhwa, or anime. I'm talking about an insane shift in narrative that borders on geopolitical warfare.
Hold up. Sorry, guys.
However, is only half of the episode, since the other half covers Sung's tower climb to the Demon King. It's a more extensive challenge that focuses on Sung's shadows, his ever-increasing power, and the system.
Hold up.
orders on geopolitical warfare.
Oh, shit.
That, however, is only half of the episode, since
I'm
the
sweating.
other half covers Sung's tower climb to the Demon King. It's a more extensive challenge that focuses on Sung's shadows, his ever-increasing power, and the system. Both are equally important, so I'm actually going to split them up into 2 videos. This will
Oh,
focus
what?
only on the
Bro, come on, dude. Another part 1 and 2. For episode 8, what are they cutting out? They need to chill, bro.
tower dungeon, while the next will cover all the Jeju stuff.
Ooh, the Chimera
It's
ants.
a video I promise you don't want to miss out on. Before we get started though, a lot of people have been asking when the new solo leveling drops were coming out, so I'm happy to announce right now. This is our newest collection, and it features the returning favorite Strongest Tea, a heavy cotton hoodie version since it's winter, and 2 brand new designs paying homage to Iron and Igris. Both are minimalist depictions of the
Ooh,
iconic
he got
weapon,
that
so
new
those who are
merch.
fans will recognize it right away, while those who aren't will see it as a subtle piece of cool-looking streetwear. You can get all 3 at a discount using the link down in the description. The collection will only be available for 3
Dang,
weeks, though, so
that's
be sure to pre-order now
cool.
before they're gone forever. We also ship everywhere internationally, but keep in mind since these are made by hand and shipped in-house, shipping to certain countries will cost a bit extra. I just wanted to make that clear so none of you were caught off guard by it.
I like this ad.
But anyway,
I like that
episode
ad.
20, Looking Up Was Tiring Me Out.
W ad.
Covering chapters 82 to 87 from the manhwa and chapters 101 to 107 from the web novel. To start from Sung's encounter with Essel, her initial squad was 3 demon knights and her a demon noble. Based on Sung's own assumption,
They should have said
how
something,
demon power
dog.
Scaling worked. The knights were about the same level of an A rank, while Essel and the other demon nobles were easily in the S ranks. He could tell by the way that she fought against him. Her
Okay, hold on. This is important. This is important, y'all.
battle point, while
If
Essel
you
and the
leave,
other
this is
demon noble
important.
how demon powers.
So I wanted to know, like, how strong she was. Like, actually, I didn't know if she was like a B or an A, because like Sung was saying, they was killing all of his shadows. They were hunting his shadows down, and them shadows was at the least B rank as he was going through all of this stuff, right? Because now they're probably a lot of them are A rank. Am I wrong here, right? So she had to have been like a A or an S. Let me hear it.
Worked. The knights were about the same level of an A rank, while Essel and the other demon nobles were easily in the S ranks. He could tell by the way that
There
she
we go.
fought against him. Her technique of rapidly targeting all his vital points clearly indicated she was very well trained. In fact, if not for Sung being her opponent, Sung knew she could easily handle 3 to 4 A ranks at once. It
Okay.
was just unlucky that she had to be facing him.
Okay.
It was when she surrendered shortly after this that Sung would feel extremely put off by such absurd behavior. It's not like intelligent monsters were rare, but to see her prostrate herself was a level above rare. There was something about Essel that just seemed strange to him.
And she's not
Aside
weak.
from the bears expressing their
She's an
disdain
S
towards her,
rank.
though, Sung figured this would be a good opportunity to initiate conversation. It was before those questions we saw in the anime, though, that Essel would first give her a reason for fighting against him. You see, as a guardian of this floor and all its inhabitants, she couldn't let some random person keep hunting her fellow demons indiscriminately. If you looked at it from the perspective of her, Sung was literally barging into her home and massacring all her people.
Yeah, he's a
Flipped
straight
roles with
villain.
The monsters from his own world. So, since he was the equivalent of a magic beast to them, Sung bore no grudge against Essel for fighting against him. He fully understood where it was she was coming from.
He was straight logical. This is why a lot of you, not my chat, okay, but a lot of these dumbass niggas that watch this show, I seen how y'all intellect is, and it is poor. If y'all was in Sung's position, y'all would have just killed her straight up. Like, y'all wouldn't have heard what she had to say. She literally could have told you that exactly too. She could have been like, hey, you came up in here and was killing everybody that I know. I was just defending my territory. You still gonna be like, wipe. Wipe. I need to wipe. I need to get to the next floor. And you would have never got to the next floor because you done killed her. She had the information.
He just didn't care. Even now, Essel was nothing more than a source of information, so as soon as her value dropped below what Sung was expecting, Sung fully planned on killing her.
Yeah, I take that back. If if y'all had the same stats as Sung, y'all would be a lot smarter. Y'all would be a lot smarter because he's got like 180 something intellect or 190 and something intellect. So I apologize. Yeah, y'all would be a lot smarter. Never mind. Y'all would be clear. Y'all would clear.
He was extremely curious to see how much XP he would get. This differs from how it was in the manhwa, since Essel's likeness to a human made him uncomfortable with killing her. In the novel, Sung was all business though, so Essel's survival depended solely on whether she could provide something more valuable than XP and whatever loot she would drop. It was value which Sung believed could only be provided via the entry permit. So, Sung would be the one to ask if she had it, leading to a blank stare that made it seem like she didn't. Sung would then waste no time summoning his dagger, since to him negotiations were now over. He would briefly ponder the peculiarity of an intelligent monster using their intelligence to beg for their life, then immediately switch thoughts to the unknown amount of XP he was about to get. I mean, she was the first demon noble he'd come across after all. So, as far as Sung knew, killing Essel might even be what grants him the entry permit.
See?
It was right as he was about to attack, though, that's when Essel would say that she'd give it to him. Her explanation of where it was validated why he wasn't able to find it, so believing what she was saying was easy. Whether he could trust her was a different story, but
He
so
lucky
long
he
as
pumped the
she
brakes on
followed
that.
her end of the deal, Sung would proceed to keep his. It was a belief stemming from a pledge he made back when he first received the power of the system. Give and take. Even if Essel was a monster, Sung would abide by that pledge regardless. He did still consider it a waste to give up the XP of her and her clan, but the trade-off was the massive amount of time he'd save. He knew he'd spent way too much time on the 80th floor already.
This man is insane. All he think about is leveling. He don't give a fuck. Like, he'll straight up slay you and your whole bloodline just to gain a level. But he if it's saving him time, he'll let you live. That man is
Even if
crazy.
Essel
This
did
man
try
is
to betray
crazy.
him,
He
it's
straight
not
up
like
crash
Sung
out.
would be upset about it. If anything, he'd probably be happy since he'd get both the XP and the permit. Now, Sung's first question was to compare the current situation with the monsters of regular dungeons, revealing the different nature between them. With magic beasts aiming to kill humans and these monsters wanting to protect the dungeon, that further reinforced the idea that he was the magic beast to them. It was a momentary thought of role reversal that Sung didn't really dwell on. Sung's next question would trigger the system's intervention, but the way it happened in the novel wasn't quite the same as how it happened here. I could just be looking into it too much, but I feel this difference is at least worth mentioning.
Let's hear it.
So, where in the anime and manhwa the system directly blocks Essel from speaking, in the novel it's actually the opposite. Essel continues speaking like nothing is wrong, while all Sung can hear is the monotone voice telling him his conversation was being blocked. It was
You have exceeded the allowed information threshold, therefore this conversation has been blocked.
a message that would last until Essel's explanation was over. So, while the outcome was the same with regards
I have said more than I am allowed to say. This conversation will be terminated.
to Sung not getting the information he wanted,
Okay.
the system's way of deafening him implies a level of control over him we may not have expected. Now, the system blocking Essel was actually a mistake on its part, because had it not interfered with Sung at all, then Sung felt he wouldn't have suspected anything. He
Duh,
would
like
have
for
assumed
real.
Essel's explanation to be nothing more than a system-made backstory, since with every aspect of these instance dungeons always being so game-like, it wasn't far-fetched to consider Essel's story another one of those elements. To him, it would have just been a
He is making it seem like his whole interaction with her is like some NPC side quest or a main quest to the whole story.
simple bit of backstory for an NPC. It was the moment the system intervened, though, that's when Sung knew for certain she had answers. Whatever enemy she was referring to clearly held relation to whatever
We were preparing for a war against a horrifying, powerful foe that necessitated every demon scattered around the demon world to unite. Yep.
was going on with him. The system had acted way too sensitively for that not to be the case. Either way, with the system exhibiting influence over Earth, these monsters, and even him, it was clear it had some sort of transcendental powers. Something Sung knew he needed to be wary of. Essel passing out couldn't be fixed by any of Sung's potions, so the wait for her had actually led to numerous battles. As it turns out, demons without intelligence often considered demons with intelligence as enemies. So, with Essel out in the open as easy prey,
He was
many
fine. He was gaining
demons had
levels.
tried to attack her. There was a whole pile of them right next to her when she woke up. Now, this next part is actually kind of a side thing, but it was common throughout all three mediums that Sung wouldn't know what personal space was.
Why he getting so
There
close?
would be times where he'd put his hands on her, and every time Sung would sense an increased heart rate. Because it was for nothing more than standing her up or guiding her forward, Sung would assume it was because she was scared. The manhwa and anime show it for what it really is. It's when we get to the Radaru castle that Essel
Boy, she beat him, boy.
would have
She
committed
fainted.
the equivalent of the Trojan horse.
That's what it
in the
is.
realm. It was after her dad's justified reaction to it that he would quickly piece together this was the person who killed Vulcan and Metis. As trusted allies he was rather fond of, he was reminded of how sad he was when the news of their defeat first got to him. It's from this that Essel's dad knew he shouldn't fight, since to do so would require being ready to sacrifice everyone.
That's right.
Keep in mind, that wasn't due to the fact these demon nobles were weak. I mean,
He
each
saw the
was
shadows.
equivalent
I remember
of an
that.
S rank. It's just that Sung was way stronger now. Plus, with the Radaru clan being the weakest out of
All of them were the equivalent to an S rank, and this dude just stood there with 3 blades to his throat. And they were the equivalent to 3 S's. Bro, I'm telling you, Sung is like rank SS or triple S, bro.
all of them, it was much easier to just believe Sung's words and avoid a fight altogether. That's when the dad would ask what else Sung wanted, fully expecting to hear something unreasonable. Reason being that after years of dealing with the demands of those who were stronger, not once were they ever fair. They were always made to insult both him and his people. So, to know this situation was likely the same, Essel's dad could only wait in frustration. It was when Sung asked for Essel herself that all the knights would gasp in astonishment. To see such peculiar reactions from those he considered monsters, well, that served to validate
They was
Essel's
outraged.
story from before. He started to think perhaps there was some truth to what she said after all. It was once the whole guide thing was cleared up that's when Essel's dad would contemplate what all this really meant. Like, to him, Sung was essentially a calamity, and this calamity had just walked straight through their front door. He would think back to the day he first arrived here, and
He coulda killed everybody,
remember how
though.
He knew the order they'd constantly been hearing was
He just said, "Give me the
preparing
map."
for something. They didn't
key.
know what it was, but just like how one would eat when they're hungry or sleep when they're tired, it was an impulse they felt the need to carry out instinctively. So, when the news of an invasion reached him all the way up here, immediately he knew this was what they needed to protect their land from. A subjugation force would eventually be sent out to deal with it, only to reveal these invading soldiers weren't as powerful as he thought. There were groups of soldiers harder than the others, but those just required a bit of preparation. Sure, victory wasn't guaranteed against any of them, but none of them seemed outright impossible. That is, until they saw Sung. Still, negotiations with the human did hurt his pride, but that was far better than the alternative. And yes,
Yeah, you
the
coulda
entry
died.
permit was something Essel's dad was supposed to protect, but the cost of doing so was just too high. He knew Sung was far too powerful to even consider fighting. It was even with all his shadows being clearly visible to him that Essel's dad could tell this wasn't even all Sung was capable of. Though he didn't know why, Sung was clearly hiding his true power. So, as unbelievable as it was for Sung to request only Essel and the permit, if it meant saving everyone, this really was no price at all. Plus, with this protecting the sanctity of the floor he was responsible for, technically he wasn't going against the order of the unknown voice either. The only risk he carried was with Essel. So, it was once Sung confirmed she'd be fine that the permit would be handed over and everyone happy. For Sung, this was a bit more of a surprise, since this would be the first time he'd acquired a key item through dialogue. The stamp at the bottom indicated it was the property of the Radaru clan, and that hinted the other permits were likely in possession of all the other clans. This made the climbing process a lot more streamlined, since rather than farm monsters aimlessly and endlessly, now Sung knew exactly where to go. It was
Yeah, that probably changed up his whole insight on how these levels, how all these floors work, bro. He's like, man, I wonder how many times I done wasted hours just slaying everybody just to find out that if he would have just found out one of them was an intelligent demon, he could have just got the little transcript or whatever, the little map.
It's much better than waiting forever for a loot item to drop randomly and without notice.
Yeah.
It's then that Sung would want to leave immediately, but Essel's dad would insist he stay for a feast. Sung really wanted to keep going, but when he saw Essel's face and how it seemed like she wanted to stay, he decided to oblige since it was the courteous thing to do. He had also grown pretty sick of the stale bread and jerky the shop provided him. It was after all that Sung would make his way to the teleportation elevator, where Essel accompanying him would reveal the existence of a party system. Not only did this allow members to travel to the next floor with him, but it also shared his XP at a rate dependent on their level of contribution.
Wow.
Naturally, this made Sung more than a little bit worried, since to lose out on XP was quite literally the worst thing imaginable for him. That being...
This oh my god, this dude is so greedy when it comes to levels, bruh. But, you know, I can't knock it, man. He's like, man, all these levels is mine. I ain't sharing nothing if I'm doing all the work, bruh. I ain't giving you nothing. I ain't giving you shit, boy.
Case, he made it crystal clear that under no circumstance should Essel ever intervene. Essel, of course, took this as Sung looking out for her, but really it was him
Nah, this boy
ensuring that the
greedy.
XP was his.
That boy
We
greedy.
know Essel's bag was intended to be gifts for negotiation, but Sung felt one exception was enough. Even though the other clans were civilized like hers, Sung had no intention of sparing any of them. So there would be a fairly descriptive scene of Sung going on a massacre, and when you consider how these demons were only protecting the place...
You have defeated a demon knight. You have obtained 3,000 experience points. I don't really know what the equivalent to that is, though. 3,000 experience points? What? How much is that?
they called home, it's kind of messed up that Sung wouldn't even give them a chance to give up. Like, before they had even known
He
they
want
were
them
being
levels,
attacked,
bruh.
Sung had already used Tusk to set their castle aflame. Their walls were literally melting, while any soldiers who ran outside were cut down instantly. So, for Essel, this would be an absolute nightmare. She couldn't help but think now of how lucky she was. For Sung, this was simply the extent of the relationship.
81 to
between humans and humans,
87.
Because if the positions were flipped, they would do the same. It was the simple truth that the strong always devoured the weak.
That's true.
So, if Sung knew that they wouldn't spare him, then why was it that he should bother to do the same? This was the logic Sung decided to proceed with. This brings us now to a funny scene with Iron, since after clearing out another camp of demons, he had rushed over to Sung, eagerly awaiting his praise. Sung would then ask if he was sure he was finished, to which Iron would nod confidently. The thing is, there was a demon right next to him stealthed with invisibility. Sung could tell it was waiting to mount a sneak attack, but decided not to do anything to see if Iron would notice. Since he didn't, Sung would take care of it himself, proceed to question Iron like a child, then Iron would lower his head out of embarrassment. Igris, on the other hand, would return looking a little different because
why didn't they
his
say
level was
anything?
maxed, indicating he was ready for an advancement. He would then kneel in front of Sung, holding a sense of nervous determination, all while Sung would look at him proudly. As the first in his army to achieve such a feat, Sung believed it was well-deserved since Igris was always the one who fought the hardest.
He really
Sung
do
would
be
then
going
establish his
ham.
command, enabling this advancement, speak the word triggering its commencement, then witness Igris evolve like he was a Pokemon. It was a moment that was a lot more epic in the manhwa. A scene...
They didn't show it, bro. They didn't show this man having a transformation. They didn't show one of the best, arguably the best character in solo leveling not level up. The fuck are they doing?
visually similar to when Sung first became the Shadow Monarch. What emerged was a shadow with far more aura than ever before, so to see what it was his soldiers could become,
Man.
Sung was now eager to do this with the rest of them. Tank would stroll in seeking his advancement next, revealing something rather peculiar about it. The levels required for it differed depending on the rank the shadow was. Since Tank has definitely killed less demons than Igris, for both to rank up together indicated Tank's level requirement was lower. It made sense considering that that was just another standard video game element. Sung would then wonder if he could ascend himself, but that was an idea he knew was probably just wishful thinking. In any case, this evolution brought with it some pretty cool new designs for both Igris and Tank. For Iron, who had to watch all this go on, he was pretty sad since he was feeling left out. All he wanted was praise, but Igris and Tank stole all of it. Now, floor 90 and above was the level of superior nobles, so if demon nobles were at minimum the S rank, then superior nobles would be well above that.
Well above S rank.
Sung might fail, since if he did end up losing, the wrath of the upper clans would come barreling down on hers. It's for that reason she wanted to try negotiations first. She was trying to plan ahead just in case. The 90s did in fact prove to be a challenge, since where before his mana levels barely took a hit, now they fluctuated greatly. It meant his soldiers were getting destroyed and regenerated a lot now. Sung himself looked to be putting in work as well, since a hazy gas could be seen emitting from him. It was his sweat immediately evaporating from the heat.
Damn.
A telltale sign that each battle was life or death now. By the 97th floor, Essel didn't have energy to even be shocked anymore, so instead she would ask if every human was as strong as he was. It was a question to which Sung would
I would've lied.
one or two.
I would have lied. Yeah, we all like that. Yeah, we all like that. Don't even try to come into our world and do something. We're all like that.
Those being the chairman and Chao. The others didn't seem very strong at all anymore, especially Choi, since Chao was quite a few tiers above him. So, if he was to judge based on their auras alone, there was a massive difference in strength amongst the S ranks. The reason I say massive is because, by Sung's observations, the difference between them was probably greater than the difference between the lower ranks. Like, say there did exist some form of double S rank, the difference between that and the regular S rank could be more than the gap between an A rank and the E rank. It was hard to say for sure since S rank mana levels couldn't be measured like that. When it came to his comparison with Chairman Go, they were on the same level the last time Sung saw him, but now that he was level 90, Sung was sure things were different.
Oh,
He was
for sure, they
genuinely
different.
excited to go back home and compare, thrilled by the thought he might be able to consider them even weaker now. Now, the real reason Sung didn't need Essel anymore was because his perception stat had gotten to the level where he could find the permit without her. With the aura of the superior nobles being so strong, Sung could easily sense exactly where they were located. It made it so a guide was no longer necessary. Plus, he didn't really want to walk around with extra baggage. Essel would then question her own usefulness, leading Sung to walk up to her and tell her she worked hard. Her reaction was another emotion Sung never expected from a monster. But it was with each and every new one he got to see that it validated more and more the story she told before. He still wasn't sure whether this whole instance dungeon was a figment of the system's imagination, but for all the terror,
Matrix.
anxiety, shock, and wistfulness Essel showed, it made it easier to believe she truly was a resident from another world. That being the case, Sung was starting to believe he was getting closer to the true identity of the system. It was once he would arrive at floor 100 that he would proceed to do a quick warm-up activating his muscles, then venture forward towards the boss. It was when he finally found him that it wasn't the boss that garnered his interest, but rather the wyvern he was flying.
He's like, I
Since
can
this
use that.
wasn't a demon like all the others, it made Sung think he might be able to extract it. So now he was just as excited as he was back when he had the chance to extract Baraka. The fight then proceeded extremely faithful to the manhwa, minus a slight change where Tusk would be the one to bring the wyvern down. Baron's armor would be estimated in the thousands, so Sung was essentially up against the equivalent of 1,000 A ranks. Then the opening skewering was a move Sung had intentionally waited for, creating a scene straight out of Vlad's playbook. The novel presents the fight as something significantly easier for Sung since there wasn't much of the struggle we saw in the anime. His immunity to lightning meant he could run around without issues, then their initial clash here had actually been what knocked Baron out of the sky. The two would then immediately engage. Sung would have to abandon his robe because it caught on fire, then after that he would proceed with a Sid-like battle, dodging everything perfectly.
Okay.
It was necessary to do so considering any attack could prove to be fatal now. So, Sung would dodge with the smallest of margins, all while gaining ground in the process. It was once he was right in front of Baron that he would reminisce of the battles he had before, thanking them for providing the power to fight evenly against such an absurdly strong monster. It was no exaggeration to say each floor molded and refined him for this exact moment. Sung would then land a critical hit on Baron's shoulder, leading
That
to a
Luffy
fair
punch?
bout of
I know Annie News won't put that in there, but that's that one punch from One Piece. It's the punch from One Piece.
Blade-to-blade
Yes.
combat.
Yes.
At first, it seemed relatively even, up until Sung would use Ruler's Touch to stagger Baran. This would bring him to his knees, then create an opening allowing Sung to land the decisive punch. Sung would then follow it up with a weirdly placed punch straight into Baran's mouth, effectively preventing him from attacking with his magic. He would then treat his head like a glove, batter it around until it was gone, then thank Baran too for everything he was about to provide for him. So, while the fight was still fairly intense, in the novel it didn't seem like Sung ever had a chance of losing. It was nowhere near as close as the manhwa or anime. Now, if you're wondering how Ruler's Touch could even be used here, it's because that's one of Sung's skills that don't use mana. Just like...
So, let me get it straight. The anime and the manhwa didn't do justice to the novel. Got it.
how shadow preservation allows you to summon shadows without mana as well, Ruler's Touch can be used with zero cost whatsoever. But yeah, that was the Tower Dungeon and Sung's fight against the Demon King. This was, however, only half the cut content, so if you want to see the crazy stuff regarding Jeju next, then be sure to subscribe since that video will be out soon. But anyway, thanks again so much for watching, and if you want to support the channel, then consider checking out the merch. Until next time, though. Ciao.
All right. I think there's one more. Yeah, we got to catch up. We really do got to catch up. Oh my goodness, there's two. Oh, he just put out one for episode 9. He really did. We got to get it.
Depending on whether you're watching the anime, reading the manhwa, or reading the novel, all three will present the Jeju Island arc somewhat differently. Each depiction villainizes Japan to varying degrees, where if it's the novel you get some borderline supervillain stuff, the manhwa is a more toned down version of it, and
Hold on, sorry, we didn't introduce this right. Solo Leveling Season 2 extra cut content, the evil plot behind Jeju Island raid. I didn't even know it was pronounced Jeju Island. I was saying Juju Island. You know, it might not matter to some of y'all, but it's Jeju.
Depending on whether you're watching the anime, reading the manhwa, or reading the novel, all three will present the Jeju Island arc somewhat differently. Each depiction villainizes Japan to varying degrees, where if it's the novel you get some borderline supervillain stuff, the manhwa is a more toned down version of it, and I expect the anime to barely mention it at all. The nature of this cut content does relate to characters and concepts that will show up later though, so for those I'll flash a minor spoiler alert on the screen beforehand. Since they are topics the anime should have introduced already though, I definitely think it's important to be aware of them, especially since some have a direct hand in dictating the way the plot is going now. So, while yes, technically some of this is spoilers, they're not the type which will ruin the show for you. In fact, I'd actually argue they serve to enhance it. Once again, not all of this is spoilers though, so for the parts that are, I'll include timestamps with the spoiler alert. Now, just very quickly before that, last video I unveiled my new collection of Solo Leveling inspired
Yes, you did.
shirts,
It was tight.
so in case you missed it, here it is again. We got the
Y'all go
strongest
check out the
team
merch.
returning in shirt and hoodie form, then the two new designs featuring
I like that
Igris's
one on the
and
left.
Iron's
I like that
iconic
red one on the
weapons.
left.
You can get all three at a discount when you buy them together, so be sure to check that out using the link down in the description. They'll only be available for about 3 weeks or so. So, if you want to support the channel and get some high quality streetwear in return, I promise this is clothing you won't be disappointed in. But anyway,
That's tight.
let's start things off with the carnage at this remote island, since the events here are...
Oh,
more
his
than just
arm.
a
I didn't even
brief
see his arm
explanation
hanging
of
out
what
like
awaits
that.
these countries. The behavior of the ant was actually shown to be quite intelligent, since, unlike my teammates in Marvel Rivals, it need to focus the weakest hunters first, with 108 of them actively...
See, look, I be making all these Marvel Rivals comments, you know what I'm saying, like before these videos and stuff. Y'all think it's a joke. But hey, clearly this man is putting them in here too.
chasing it. It methodically eliminated the E-ranks first to decrease their numbers, then got rid of the healers in order to weaken them. It was a level of intelligence that indicated the ant knew what situations would put it at an advantage and disadvantage. Luckily, a dashcam was able to get footage for the Hunter Association, so in Korea they weren't entirely in the dark with regards to what they were dealing with. Now, you may think 108 hunters was excessive for a single A-rank monster, but considering its ability to sense danger and adapt, Japan believed their response was the appropriate one. I mean, even with all that, they still took on casualties anyway. So, with Japan possessing one of the most well-organized systems with regards to its network of hunters, the fact it suffered so many casualties meant any other country would likely end up worse from a crisis like this. Combine that with the numerous islands Korea had off their coast just like Japan, and the association knew they were in trouble. They simply weren't capable of monitoring every island like how Japan was. Their country just didn't have enough hunters. Plus, with this ant having flown 150 kilometers just to get here, that meant
that's
it could
wild.
easily make it to the mainland too. The islands weren't the only areas in danger anymore. This put Chairman Go into quite the tough situation, since when he considered what countries might come to their aid, there wasn't a single one that came to mind. China and Russia were actually the most likely, but even with their plentitude of hunters to spare, the amount of land they needed to protect made it difficult to justify it. America had refused to help in all the raids before, so it was more than likely they'd do the same again. There was, however, an independent who requested to come out and help regardless, and that would be Hwang Dong-soo. As Mr. Wu would inform Chairman Go, he was very intent on participating in this raid. Of course, both the chairman and Wu knew it was to target Sung, so without even being told to do so, Wu had already denied Hwang's request and barred his entry into the country. He had used the conflict with Beck as an excuse to justify it. Hwang wasn't the only person who tried to get in contact though, as another party expressed interest in meeting as well. Who might that be? Well, he's one of 5 hunters the world likes to classify as a national level hunter. This is a concept Jinho's dad should have introduced back when he was talking about the guild, since that was the core reason he knew power was the new world order. Mr. Yu didn't just fear S ranks, he feared the level above and their near godlike power. Like, these hunters weren't called national level for nothing. It was a title that indicated their power was equivalent to an entire nation's military. So,
SS,
it was one of these all-powerful
rank
hunters which
hunters.
wanted to speak to the chairman, leading to a cutscene with him. This is Thomas Andre, and he's the guild leader of the Scavenger Guild, the one from America that Hwang Dong-soo is part of. The meeting was brief yet powerful, since when a hunter like him requests something, it was definitely in your best interests to oblige. So, first he would ask where Sung Jin-woo was.
Ooh, he wanted to see him. Ooh. Did they cut that shit out too? I don't remember seeing that in there. Was I not paying attention? Did they cut that shit out? Do you really not know the whereabouts of Korea's 10th S rank? Come on now.
Chairman Go had no idea, so the best he could do was answer honestly and hope Thomas believed him. I mean, it's not like people often lied to him anyway, so Thomas had no problem accepting Chairman Go's answer. His next question was more of a demand, since he wanted to ensure Hwang Dong-soo couldn't return here. It's likely he was familiar with Hwang's personal beef and for whatever reason wanted the association to keep Hwang away from it. So, since that was an issue Wu already took care of, that was it for what Thomas wanted. The meeting was done and Thomas would leave now. Chairman Go couldn't help but be a bit disappointed, since what he thought was a potential avenue for his country's salvation instead turned out to be nothing more than a meeting which could have been an email. That said, if Korea could somehow put together the right amount of cash to hire him, well, that was a completely different story. In the meantime, Japan would be having a crisis meeting of their own, since for them, a remote village had just been wiped off the map.
Huh?
This brought the Japanese government together with Japan's own hunter association, leading to a conversation where a plan had to be made.
By the ants?
With the Prime Minister wanting the problem solved as fast as possible, it wasn't an exaggeration to say most people's jobs here depended on the results of this meeting. No one really had a plan yet, but the association president did see an opportunity.
Chairman of the Japanese Hunters Association.
Since Jeju Island was a piece of land South Korea couldn't defend on their own, he believed it fair to question their ownership of it. It was a controversial statement that got everyone in the room talking. No one would dare to assume what it was Matsumoto was implying though, so to make his words as clear as possible, he just came right out and said it. Japan would step in to secure Jeju Island, and in doing so they'd also take Jeju Island for themselves. It was once that was said that all on the association side would be completely silent, but for the members of government, well, let's just say they were riled up. I mean, not only was the Prime Minister awaiting an appropriate solution, but so was the entire country too. So, to come out and say they were gonna annex another country's island right after this incident, well, that just didn't seem like the best solution.
That sounds like some government
Obviously,
stuff that they be
Matsumoto
doing.
wasn't implying they do so by force, but what he was saying was they coerced them using this crisis. If his plan went exactly as he intended, then by the end, Korea would be ready to hand over Jeju Island willingly. Still, the idea seemed absolutely ridiculous, but for Matsumoto, he was incredibly serious. Even the Vice Prime Minister, who was currently in the room with them, couldn't fathom how such a feat would even be possible. That's not to say he wasn't interested though, since he was actually quite curious to hear more about it. So, when it came down to it, Matsumoto knew South Korea wasn't in a position to say no to help. The world had all but accepted its unofficial stance they'd given up, so if another country came in offering help, there wasn't a chance any sane person would deny it. I mean, Jeju Island was 2% of their overall landmass after all. It was quite a hefty amount to just write off like that. The thing is, help probably wasn't enough to get South Korea to hand over the island. Even if it was, for Japan the island definitely wasn't enough as compensation. You see, when it came to putting the life of an S-rank at risk, an island like Jeju paled greatly in comparison. So, when asked what else was to be gained in return, well, let's just say Matsumoto had something a lot more foul in mind.
Think about it, bruh. Like, if that ant left Jeju Island, well, actually it did. The ant left Jeju Island, touched land, started slaying humans, right? Now think about it. When they kill the ant, it's gonna, notify the king or the queen or whoever it is on the island that one of their A-rank ants, one of their soldiers, has died. So that's gonna be all their attention to go invade next. I have not read the manga or any of the novels. I'm just kind of like throwing little predicts and speculation out,
The only reason no one realized it yet was because they were so focused on the idea of Japan actually helping Korea that not once did they think this wasn't their intention. Well, Matsumoto never said it was, and he had actually made a point to make clear he was only suggesting it. It was then that Matsumoto's true intent would come to light, revealing a plot that would effectively destroy South Korea. Now, I don't mean that entirely literally, but if Matsumoto's plan went the way he intended, Korea's position in the world would drop dramatically.
Spoiler alert.
So,
Hold on.
Was this plan then?
Hold on. I gotta go to the bathroom real quick. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I'll be back. Gotta go to the bathroom. We back in this bed. We back in this bed. All right. We back. All right. Back to the episode.
Well, it was essentially a trap that would result in the death of all of South Korea's S-ranks. There is a chance this does get revealed in the anime, but the full extent of Matsumoto's plan wasn't even revealed in the manhwa. So it's for that reason that I'm sharing it now. This plan was set in motion far before any of this, and it changes the light under which we see everything. So, how was Japan planning to kill all of Korea's S-ranks? Well, with Japan's S-ranks forming the...
what the hell? Japan is planning to kill all of Korea's S-ranks. So, I know that y'all are probably the younger viewers that don't know about things politically and probably do not care. Just know that Japan and Korea, they really don't like each other. Japan don't like nobody. Okay? Especially Asians. You know what I'm saying? Like Asians just don't like Asians. You know what I'm saying? And don't come at me about no damn racist shit, bro. Like, we black people deal with the most racist of shit. And I'm also Filipino, so I know how Asians be treating Asians. I'm telling you.
The diversion on the outside.
We are the Mexicans of the Asians.
Koreas would proceed to the Queen. It's once they were in the tunnels facing off against the Queen that Japan would withdraw and send all the ants back into the tunnels. Knowing Korea wasn't able to handle these ants 3 times before, Matsumoto was confident they wouldn't be able to handle them now. Certainly not the unexpected ambush numbering in the thousands. So this to Matsumoto was the fate of Korea the moment they failed the raid the first time. All he was doing was helping to speed up the process.
Wow.
What then happens
Evil
when all
ass.
of Korea's S-ranks are dead?
Bruh.
Well, that's where the whole willingly part comes in. With nothing left to defend themselves from an onslaught of ants, it was only natural Korea would become
Evil,
desperate
bro.
for any help. I mean, their borders would be incredibly susceptible to all sorts of danger.
Good
now.
plot, though.
There was even a chance North Korea would try to invade with their own S-ranks. It's unlikely China, Russia, or America would do anything to help then, so when Japan steps in to be their knight in shining armor, that's when Korea would have no choice but to cling to them. It was a vulnerable position that, by then, Korea would probably be willing to hand over Jeju Island and more. Jeju Island was just the beginning, since if Matsumoto's plan finished the way he wanted, then in the end, it would be all of Korea that fell under Japan's influence. They would have...
Nah, bro. Junwoo, you need to go and slay all of them. Slay all of them fools, bro. Nah, you ain't gonna just try to come up in here and just think you could just run shit like that. You gonna sabotage? You just gonna try to get people killed for some money? You want the island for yourself? You just gonna try to get people killed for some money, bro? What? Nah, bro. I hope Jinwoo goes in there and sees what's up, clears out all the ants, clears out the boss, and just straight up kills all of Japan's motherfucking people, bro. Cause they out here playing too much, bro. They out here playing too much. How you gonna do that? You out here playing too much, bro. Hell nah. This fool right here playing too much. Really. Just wait. Watch. Just watch. When Jinwoo get up in there, watch. I'm telling you. He, unlike Luffy though, you know what I'm saying? Like, Luffy don't really like killing nobody. Jinwoo, on the other hand, he started out like that. He didn't really want to kill nobody to begin with anyway. You know what I'm saying? But if you force his hand, he gonna kill you. And the system is gonna tell him to kill you. The system is gonna tell him to kill you, bro. Like, as soon as the system is like, oh, Japan is on some evil shit, it's gonna show Japan as a whole enemy. It's gonna show Japan's government as an enemy. He gonna have a quest that's gonna pop up. It's gonna be like, annihilate Japan. In soul leveling, it's gonna say annihilate Japan. Watch.
have assumed control without firing
That's
a
crazy.
single shot.
That's crazy.
With that leading to the birth of Matsumoto's empire, this
is
would be the full
getting
extent of the
heated.
plan he came up with. It was a plan the government would fully commit to, and it would be the same plan Gojo would operate under here, at least in the novel. In the manhwa, Goto's motivations were a little different, but that's a topic we'll cover in a little bit. For now, Gojo and Matsumoto had just arrived at the airport, and Gojo was sensing someone incredibly powerful. As a hunter capable of standing on equal footing with China's strongest, Gojo knew this was a presence South Korea wasn't capable of producing. That's when an association member
felt sung.
it was Thomas Andre, leading
never
Matsumoto to
mind.
think he might interfere with their business. For a bit more information on Gojo himself, he was the leader of the Blade Guild, the largest and most powerful guild in Japan since, unlike Korea, there was no competition in Japan. Where Korea had their top 5 always competing against each other, in Japan it was just the Blade Guild at the top. They alone possessed 11 out of the 21 S-rank hunters in the entire country. Now, the joint meeting had government officials present as well, so when Matsumoto offered to so generously create a
Hold up. Everybody love dog.
My gosh. Look how little. Oh my gosh. Just stay here all day.
I know, yeah. I wouldn't blame you. Alright, I'm gonna finish stream.
Okay.
Alright.
Talk to you later.
Love you, bye.
Bye.
Alright. My bad, y'all. That like a cute little dog on screen, you know what I'm saying?
The ministers of Korea were all too eager to accept the offer. They initially thought Japan was going to demand reparations, so for them to do the opposite, well, that was almost too good to be true. Only Chairman Go remained skeptical of this all too timely offer. He at least wanted to know what their plan was first. Matsumoto would then reveal the plan as mentioned in
Watch, when I'm uploading this video, I'm gonna use that dog to like get y'all to stay and watch the video because they got a little dog in it, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get y'all with a dog, you know?
the anime, exposing a harsh truth that made their offer all the more unbelievable. You see, since Japan knew the ants had exited the tunnels only 3 times before, that indicated they had been spying on them. Not only that, but they were watching closely yet did nothing to help them. That being the case, in a way the information they gained was at the expense of all the dead hunters from Korea. It was a notion Chairman Go couldn't help but be upset about. This led him to unleash a bit of his magical energy, enough to get Gojo to react with his own. It was only fair that Japan respond in kind to whatever aggression Korea initiate. Even so, Mr. Go knew he couldn't let his personal feelings get in the way of solving the biggest problem his country has ever faced before. As much as he didn't like to admit it, he knew Japan's help was necessary if they were going to even attempt a raid. So,
But he knows something up. He knows something fishy.
The help or not, it was instead, could Korea's 6 viable
What's up?
ranks actually kill the ant?
What's up, Ivan? You just not Ivan. What's up, Isaac? You just missed a little dog. You might have to go back a little. You might have to go back a little bit because you missed it. You missed a little corgi. Little corgi in the video.
Queen. Perhaps if Sung was there they could, but
Cute
if he
that
wasn't,
dog.
then the mission would become a whole lot riskier. At the very least, the plan to get them there seemed solid. Since it has been proven the ants leave the tunnels when they sense a powerful presence, Goto's multi-directional attack on the coast.
But yeah, we just reacting to yeah, it's not too far. It's probably about like the last like 3-4 minutes. I was cutting in and out. But Heidi got that cute ass dog, bro. Little corgi. I think she said it was like maybe a few months old. But yeah, we're reacting to, Solo Leveling, all the cut content because, bro, they've been cutting out a lot. Like, I swear if it wasn't for these videos, I would be so lost. I'd be so lost.
Should leave the queen minimally guarded. It's from there the Korean team will helicopter in, infiltrate the tunnel, kill the queen, then helicopter out. They didn't need to kill every ant along the way, they just needed to kill the queen herself. So, while Mr. Go wasn't sure they'd succeed, what he did know was that the ants needed to be taken care of before they evolved even more. If that meant resorting to borrowing another country's strength, then that was a price he was willing to accept. The only thing Japan asked for in return was an even split of the magic crystals. It was a seemingly small asking price considering the value Korea was getting in return. Now, in the manhwa, this would be where Gojo would reveal his true intentions, highlighting a whole new motivation apart from the ones we mentioned earlier. This one was a bit more personal, since remember how I said he was as strong as Liu? Well, Liu was national level and Gojo wasn't. Why, might you ask, would someone who was equally as strong not carry the same credentials?
They flashed allegedly. Allegedly. Come on, bro. You can't claim your national level without getting... You gotta let the people give you that title as national level. You can't just straight up and just call yourself national level. Like, you really just trying to, like, push your ego around and have people accept that shit. Like, no, bro, come on. Ain't nobody gonna accept that shit. They only got one person that's national level. Don't try to rope yourself in there with him and then not stand on business. Like, come on.
Well, that's because Gojo didn't have the qualifications to earn one.
See, look at that. How you gonna sit there and talk about you national level, bro?
Didn't have a completed S-rank gate under his belt. So, it was once he cleared Jeju Island that would finally qualify him as a national level hunter. The 6th in the world to ever be one. Or at least he hoped anyway. This would be more than enough compensation for Japan since their status in the world would increase dramatically. Of course, Gojo knew this wasn't the most righteous way of doing things, but from his perspective, he was...
Hold on. So you telling me... Oh, wait. Junwoo, he cleared a red gate. An A-rank red gate. Pretty much by himself. Pretty much. And there's only a handful of S-rank hunters that have cleared a S-rank dungeon on their own or like as a group. Because if Japan's got 14, 13 S-rank hunters and they can't even clear one S-rank gate, or I guess they're not popping up. Like, I guess they're not popping up as like as frequently as they're supposed to, right? There might be like what, 20 D rank, 30 E rank, and then goes down to like 1 or 2 like S ranks in a couple months or so. He still hasn't cleared one. Don't rope yourself in there. Don't try to act like you a national level. You're trying to cheat your way up there.
Wasn't really asking for a lot. What he was offering was by no means unfair to South Korea, and realistically, it was the only way to achieve what he wanted. Now, in the
by
novel,
stabbing
Mr. Go
Snake,
couldn't help
just
but
stabbing him in the
question
back.
their intentions more, but that only led the officials beside him to effectively scold him. Everyone aside from him wanted to seal the deal as fast as possible. That being the case, in the end the proposal was approved unanimously. It was after that Matsumoto would commend Gojo for his help because the only reason he could talk to the chairman the way he did was because he knew he was safe with Gojo next to him. Together they had effectively achieved the first step towards something huge, a new empire that Matsumoto could become the emperor of. As for why someone as strong as Gojo accepted this man as his superior, it was all because following his ambitions would lead himself to a place of greater power as well. And with that,
how much power do you need?
The only wild card was the US rank for whom they had zero information.
I want more power, bruh.
They knew this could potentially deviate their plan, but they didn't think a single person could change things too much. I mean, the odds of him being someone who could was about 1 in a billion. So, with that being their only concern, both could rest easy knowing things were fine. So that's Japan's plan in its entirety. It's tough to say what route the anime plans on following, but I hope this extra bit of information makes the Jeju raid more entertaining for you. At the very least, now you know there's more to it than just the main conflict itself. But anyway, if you liked the video, then leave a like, and if you want to see more, consider subscribing. If you want to support the channel beyond that, feel free to check out the new Solo Leveling merch down below. Until next time though, ciao.
I like the video, bro. I like the video. So that's the extra cut content, the evil plot behind Jeju Island. They didn't touch up on that. They might, but I feel like whenever they added in, who was it? Iron and Tank, or no, Iron and Egress, like bringing like the enemy's heads and stuff like that as trophies to Jinwoo. They were supposed to do that stuff earlier on, allegedly from these informative videos. And then they decided to cut it in there like 3 more episodes later on because they know that people needed it in there. Oh, I think we got some pictures of some dogs. Oh, all right, hold up. We got some animals. Hold up. Let me let these load up real quick. Check this out. Check this out, you feel me? Let me feel me, bro. One of my girlfriend's good friends got her a little new dog. Got the, let me see. Clean my screen a little bit. Got fingerprints on it. Number 2. Photo number 2. Cute that little dog. The other one's taking some time to load. Hold on. Let me get on the Wi-Fi. But while those load, so we finished some extra cut content. Wait, let me read those comments.
Depending on whether you're watching the anime.
I said the same thing. Somebody said that the S rank hunter from America looks like All Might. I'm telling you. Solo Leveling, they just kind of like paying homage to like other anime, pulling here and there, you know what I'm saying? Because, hey man, it was popular, it worked. You just take the same thing, put your little old tang on it, and then it's all yours, you know? Put your little twang on it. All right, we loaded the puppy photos. Let me show y'all this real quick. Check this out. And I gotta fix my chat. My chat is not up like on my OBS, so I gotta like look at it. Here we go. Look at that. Look at that cute little dog. Look at that. Cute that dog. Cute that dog. Put that up. All right. So let's see. Solo Leveling. We might as well just get the next one out, bro. We gotta watch the new one. It just came out. Let's get it. All right. All right. We got one more. We got Solo Leveling Season 2, Episode 9, cut content. Sung Jinwoo's Miracle, the end of his S rank level guide. And I want to talk about something shortly in here, bro, that y'all are going to want to hear. Y'all are going to listen.
This was the best scene in Solo Leveling so far. It's not like I enjoy seeing a strong man cry, but not only was the animation absolutely phenomenal, but everything from the tone, atmosphere, and voice acting all served to bring Sung's personal climax to life.
I guess, we didn't have to wait that long to get into this conversation. So let me tell you something. When I'm editing this, since you're seeing it live, I'm probably have it pop up right here or over here somewhere, right? It's gonna pop up, and it's gonna be the post of people saying this episode got the most dislikes out of all the episodes from season 1 to season 2, and this was the one episode that showed like all the humanistic qualities to Jinwoo, and then you have people disliking it. Is your attention span so bad that you need all the flashing lights, screen flickers, and fight scenes and swords clashing that you can't even appreciate somebody saving their own mom? Do you even like, what do you watch anime? I guess people can pick different reasons to watch anime, but I'll tell you one thing. Nobody would be on this earth if it wasn't for a mother. So how the fuck, if anything, you gonna sit there and then dislike a video of somebody saving their moms? Are you that hurt? Are you that heartless? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, even if you don't like your mom or your mom did something to you that we can't understand, you're here for a reason. She brought you into this world. If anything, if you hate her for everything else, you should love her for the fact that she brought you into this world. And you have the ability to watch this anime. Like, you was chilling watching this episode and was just like, moms, I don't like this shit. Fuck you, mom. Fuck you, mom. You're ruining my anime, mom. Like, what? Out of here, bruh. I should have went full screen on that.
I mean, as soon as the music hit, I knew they were gonna treat this scene right. With what was essentially Sung's training arc.
They really did. They did their thing on it.
Can finally get to the major conflict.
They did their thing on that episode.
Season 1. It may have come at the cost of various side characters and a little world building, but at least we know the Jeju Island arc will be animated to completion now. This does, however, bring in a whole lot of side characters on its own, so if the anime continues to focus solely on Sung and the few other characters closest to him, then I suspect all these new ones will get the Jinhee treatment.
They for sure will. They ain't gonna show nothing about these characters. They're just gonna show them get boxed up and then packed up and shipped somewhere else, shipped back to Japan. That's all they gonna do. They ain't gonna have no dialogue for them at all. Junwoo just gonna be like, shut up, pack up, gone.
They are barely mentioned. The anime already skipped out on a whole fight between the translator and him, so it's that along with some other cut scenes that I'm gonna talk about here. I'll probably wait one more episode just in case that fight somehow comes up, but here's everything else the anime left out from the manhwa and web novel. Now, I don't want to keep pestering you over and over, but I gotta keep promoting these for those who might
promote
not
it, bro.
Yet. Myself and
these shirts go hard.
Work into making them, so
these shirts go hard.
High quality solo leveling inspired streetwear that directly supports.
I let you promote your own.
These are some shirts you won't be disappointed in. There's the classic design featuring these iconic daggers, the new Night Tee paying homage to Igris, then a Shield Tee too since I didn't want to leave Iron out. The poor guy
go cop one, y'all. If you got it, cop one. Cop one for your kid.
Individually, or you
cop one for your son.
Just check him out using the link down in the description. But anyway,
link down below.
Episode 20.
Not in my link, but in his link.
It was all worth it. Covering chapters 88 to 91 from the manhwa and chapters 108 to 108.
Wait, what happened? You almost got caught. What? You almost got caught watching the live. Where, in class? You almost got caught watching this in school?
110 from the web novel. With Baron dead and his shadows picking up the loot, Sung would be sitting at level 97 now. When he first entered, he was level 61, so this was by far his most valuable dungeon experience yet. Combine that with the bonus stats from item sets and quest rewards, and the buff to Sung's power is probably the biggest leap we've gotten so far. I mean,
and after school
demon set gave plus 10 to all his stats, on top of the plus
20
to perception and intelligence the ring itself gave. Add in the plus 30 from finishing
you gotta be careful.
Quest, and the total boost comes to plus 120. It was the equivalent of going up.
Or just don't do it. It's not worth the trouble, you know.
Closer look at what each of the items do. The Demon King's daggers gave plus 220 attack when equipped, along with a set effect that would grant bonus damage equivalent to Sung's strength stats.
Damn.
So as long as Sung was using both the Demon King's daggers together, his attack power would effectively be doubled.
Them look hard,
the
bruh.
Longsword granted plus 350 attack on its own, along with a passive effect called Storm of White Flames. It was an AoE
that should
attack
go
that
hard.
activated every time the sword was swung. creating a violent thunderstorm that would destroy everything in front of it. Now, when it came to creating the elixir, the system didn't tell him success was dependent on his intelligence until after the process was started.
See, and that's what got me too, like telling him that he gotta go make this shit and then he gotta get it blessed by some tree nomads and shit. And I'm like, bro, you giving this man another quest after he done just cleared 100 floors and then completely put a whole family at the top of the food chain after just destroying another monarch? Bro, you giving this man another quest? Give him a break, man.
So, if you
I want to see him swing that sword too, bro. I'm ready to see him test that sword, and y'all better not cut it out. Y'all better not cut it out.
Wondering why Sung didn't just dump all his bonus stats into intelligence right there and then, it's simply because he didn't know.
It's not that he didn't know, bro. He threw all of his stats from the anime. They shown he threw all his stats when he threw that punch at Baron. When he gave him that uppercut, he threw everything in strength, my dog. He threw everything in strength, so he had nothing left in intellect. Hey, somebody catch me if I'm wrong. Did I catch him? Did I catch Annie News? Did I catch him?
It was a notion that went to frustrate him more than you might think, so Sung could only consider himself lucky for having woken up to the importance of it. It's when the elixirs were finished.
Yeah,
that
side quest
all
after
the
side
ingredients
quest.
were used up. Barely any of the world tree was shaved off, and quite a bit of blood still remained from the Demon King. The only reason Sung couldn't create more elixirs then was because the spirit water from earlier ran out first. That being the case, should there ever come a time when Sung needed to create the elixir again, all he needed to do was get more spring water. It seemed
okay.
the crafting system worked in a realistic manner like that. It only took accurate proportions based on what was needed. It's then that Iron would bring Kaisel over, finally receiving praise for doing good work for once.
There you go.
Kaisel's shadow would then come out at the night rank, making it the same level
That's
as
crazy.
Iris when
This
he
man's
was
got a
first
whole
summoned.
dragon.
It was a rank that went to surprise Sung at first, but when he considered this was the mount of the literal Demon King, it made sense that he wouldn't ride something weak. The last reward was the title of Demon Slayer, but whatever it provided remained unknown since Sung hadn't yet met the requirements to activate it. Now, when it came to the new skill Shadow Exchange, what Sung initially thought was a silly limitation with the cooldown, he later realized was more like a balance feature. When he saw how it worked and the way it teleported him practically instantly, he knew a power like that without a cooldown was way too OP. Luckily, the cooldown wouldn't remain at 3 hours forever, since as the skill's level went up, that timer would go down. It was before Sung would test it, though, that in the manhwa he would barely say anything to Essel, then in the novel he wouldn't say anything at all.
He
If you
egoed
thought
her,
the
bro.
anime's goodbye was abrupt, well, the manhwa's was even more brief, and the novel didn't even have one at all. As soon as the fight was finished, Essel was never acknowledged after that. It was a truly heart.
This man is so cool. Oh my god, bro. If she doesn't think that there's so many mixed signals in that whole interaction, bro, she is distressed. Like, for one, she tried to kill him twice, right? And then he like stopped her, no stops at all, twice. Spared her whole family. She was into that shit, you know? And then he took her with him to all the levels. He was like, watch this. And just straight up destroyed everybody. Then it was like, you know what? Your whole family is going to be at the top of the food chain here on the one. Y'all will be living on the 100th floor. He literally upgraded their hotel room service from floor 80 to the penthouse, bro. He gave them the Imagine somebody just giving you the penthouse to live in rent free forever. All you got to do is make sure that shit just stay clean. You straight up fall in love. That's what's happening with her. Now he just straight up deuce out, disappear, never to be heard of again, not without a word to say. But the anime did good by that, you know. He was like, bye. But the manhwa, he just straight up peaced out and didn't say a word. This nigga cold.
Heartbreaking way to treat who we all know is best girl.
This nigga cold.
The process of teleporting first involved zeroing in on the shadow
Oh,
he
hell
wanted
no.
to exchange with, then had him confirm that this was his target, after which a strong gravitational-like force would pull him into his own shadow. It was right as he was about to disappear in the novel, though, that a system message would indicate the dungeon was going to return back to its original appearance. I couldn't tell you
What does that mean?
that meant, but I imagine it's a process similar to what happened in the subway dungeon. Sung would be separated from the overlapping world the system had made for him. This then brings into question what happens to the demons, but that's something I don't think we'll ever find out. They either stay, are returned back to their dimension, or are erased from existence.
I hope it's not that last one, though.
Post-teleportation revealed just how amazing this skill was, since with no adverse side effects and no time gap between transmissions, Sung could confidently say Shadow Exchange had near limitless applications. He couldn't consider its full potential for too long, though, as what was important now was getting to his mother. Despite it being 10 PM and well past visitation hours,
Just get on his dragon.
Sung would go anyway, since at this point nothing was going to stop him. This brings us to the meeting with the chairman, where him and Mr. Wu would be confirming the records Japan sent over. Based on their observations from a satellite capable of detecting mana, not only did it confirm the ants were in fact evolving, but it also confirmed every single ant did leave the tunnels during each of Korea's raids before. Sure, there were a few guardian ants left over, but compared to the entire army they usually dealt with, this was quite the confidence booster. The thing is, that special signal Wu mentioned would disrupt their hive mind, well, that was nothing more than an invention Japan had essentially said to just trust them on. There was no confirmation on Korea's end that this signal did in fact work, so everything regarding its effectiveness was all hearsay from the Japanese side. Whether it was actually true or not was a different story, but for now, all Korea needed to focus on was killing the queen. It was definitely a simple objective when it came down to it, but with success relying heavily on the plans of everyone else, Chairman Go couldn't help but feel incredibly
Alright, my bad, phone call.
anxious about it. It was then that Mr. Go would sense a powerful magical presence, dictating the exact moment Sung had summoned Kaisel. Mr. Wu couldn't feel it himself, but the chairman had picked up on an incredibly brief burst of magical energy. And while he was curious to know where it was coming from, the only thing he could think about right now was the raid. Beck and Min would be shown to sense it too, making them think it was probably Choi and Cha duking it out. This brings us to their conversation, where a little more context was given for each of their motivations. First, what makes Min so unique isn't the fact he retired without injuries, it's the fact he retired despite being perfectly healthy. As the only S rank in the entire world to do so, Min had effectively given up on a type of life that no person had ever said no to before. I mean, it took a special type of person to turn down billions just because they didn't like being a hunter anymore.
Yeah, he just didn't like seeing death.
It's not like Min grew up rich either, so this was truly just a personal preference for him. It's this that triggered a slightly different reaction from the anime, since with Min initially believing Beck was trying to recruit him, he had actually become quite defensive when making his intentions clear. This wasn't what Beck had come for at all though, since what he really wanted to do was say goodbye. You see, there was no telling what was going to happen on the island, so this could very well be the last time these two see each other. Now, though Min made it seem like Beck had a choice in the raid,
good friends.
when it came down to it, he really did.
There's brothers.
A guild could not decline a summons from the association. It was in return for the association accommodating every need the guild could ever have that the guild would then have to answer the association's call whenever. Should they choose not to, then emigration was likely the only choice after that. The problem is, it's likely no nation would ever want to recruit those hunters.
Because you a sellout.
If a hunter ran away from a difficult raid once before,
Roach.
who's to say they wouldn't just do it again? There would
Roaches.
always be this lingering sense of a lack of commitment that a country just couldn't put their faith in. So, this was the cost of being a deserter, but it's not like Beck was planning to desert anyway. As for why Min isn't treated the same, well, the retirement of a hunter was completely different. His was a personal choice no one could fault him for. It's not like he was reaping the benefits of being a hunter anyway, so the responsibilities that came with it no longer applied to him. It's for this reason that he becomes so defensive when first sitting down to talk with Beck. He thought Beck was trying to recruit him despite Beck knowing there was no way he'd say yes.
He didn't want to see no death no more.
By the tremors in Min's hands, since despite being offered significant money from places like Yujin Construction, Min couldn't place himself into a hunter position anymore. He simply wasn't fit for a job where it was kill or be killed. So, whatever it was he went through before, clearly traumatized him to the point he couldn't deal with it now. All he wanted was a normal
got
life in this
PTSD.
all too abnormal world. Beck, on the other hand, carried expressions of eagerness, since the look in his eyes made it clear he was ready to kill as many ants as possible. In the novel, this is what led Min to the conclusion perhaps those who awakened were those who wanted to fight. Switching over to the hospital now, the whole scene with his mother was adapted perfectly, but the backstory regarding her scar could use a bit more context. This wasn't an accident in the kitchen, but was rather a mistake in the public bathhouse. You see, after years of being taken care of by his mother, little Sung Jin-woo only wanted to return the favor. He wanted to emulate what his mother did to him so many times before. Being so young and lacking...
This nigga did not just pour hot scalding water on his mom's, did he? Don't tell me he just burnt his mama with some hot water. Please, somebody.
The ability to distinguish the temperature of water, though, led Sung to not realize the bubbling water he was carrying was practically boiling. So he had carefully carried it over to his mother, then dumped it all on her since that was what Sung believed was normal.
My god, this brain dead ass little boy. Oh my god.
Manhwa or anime showed after this was that Jinna was on his mom's lap as well. So, out of fear that some of this boiling water might end up on Jinna too, Sung's mom didn't move an inch. She barely flinched as she hunched over, enveloping the daughter beneath her. She didn't even make a sound either, so Sung didn't know he'd done anything wrong up until others in the bathhouse started running over. It was then
Oh
that Sung
my
started to
god.
cry, but what he thought was for sure going to lead to a strict scolding instead became words which would be imprinted on him forever. Combine this with the fact his mom had taken care of them by herself, and Sung knew
And they
he
didn't
owed
put
her a
that
debt
in.
that he could never repay.
They be
As
cutting
much
out
as he
all the
hated
good
owing
stuff.
Someone or someone owing him, his mom was the one person Sung would do anything for. It was also he could give back for what she gave him. Now, for Sung, whose hands remained steady even during numerous life and death battles, now they trembled out of fear that a mistake would cost the life of his mother. He made sure to read the description over and over, ensuring he didn't miss a single thing about it. It was once those words were memorized that's when Sung would finally commit to giving it to her. The rest was a scene the anime
whole
did
bottle.
absolute justice to, especially the voice actor who killed it with the broken daijobus here. This brings us now to a cutscene involving the director of the hospital, where for him an incredible opportunity just popped up. With this awakening being the first in history, it meant eyes would be focusing on him and his hospital internationally. There was incredible value to be made from all the free marketing he was about to get. In the manhwa, we're shown this director not wanting his patient to leave, but aside from it being due to a medical anomaly needing to be shared with the medical community, the reason in the novel was instead this. Reporters around the world were gonna want to hear how it was this patient recovered, so the publicity of the hospital depended on Sung's mom being present. Not only that, but the success of that publicity depended on whether they could figure out how she was cured to begin with. So
Yeah, and you mean to tell me, like, watch, they better put in some scenes where, like, the public and the paparazzi and the association want to know, like, in the hospital, is like, why is there, like, so much stuff happening around Sung's family? And this man disappeared for a whole week or more. So nobody knew where he was at. And then he just shows up and then his mom is cured. Come on now. At least the chairman's going to be like, yeah, he definitely has something to do with that. That's why he was gone for a whole week.
with the hospital's bright future being contingent entirely on her, the director suggested delaying her discharge as long as possible.
See?
That's when the doctor would mention doing so would cause issues, leading to the reveal the patient was Sung Jin-woo's mother. And with Sung Jin-woo being her registered guardian, he had requested her information be kept private. Now, normally the director would have disregarded such a request,
But he was terrified of that boy. What did I say? I said it in one of my recent videos. I said that if that was a hospital in the US, no. Or any other place, it's doing it here. But essentially, any place that requires, is like capitalism is a thing like that, or status, or, you know, like, actually, I wouldn't necessarily say that because this is like breaking technology, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that's never happened before. But anyway, they will completely ignore any humanistic, they will forget that you're a human. That's what I'm trying to say. And they will just start running tests on you. They're going to turn you into a test tube human. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. They're going to try to figure out how they can extract the cure and just start making people pay for it, because his mom was just laid up in bed and he just had to go to work because they was charging her. So why not charge her for the cure? They want to probe her, figure out what the cure is, and start making money.
The moment he pieced together this was the same S rank revealed several days ago, that's when he backtracked on everything. It wasn't because he was afraid Sung might try to harm him physically, but
no, he was afraid.
Rather due to the impact Sung would have on everything else. As an S-rank hunter whose connections extended to pretty much every branch of society, negative press would be just the start of how Sung could potentially ruin them. When it came to Jinna reuniting with her mom, to Sung this emotional scene was reward enough for all the hard work he put in. He knew for sure now everything he'd done wasn't in vain.
It was all worth it.
It was then that something stuck inside him would melt away, relieving him in a way that made it seem like the burden of losing his mother had finally been lifted. It was shortly after that Sung would check his phone and come across a surprising news article talking about Kaiso. Though Sung had thought he was being discreet, it turns out quite a few people had seen him yesterday. This had led a lot of them to panic, since the sight of what could only be a monster led them to think that this was a dungeon break. The association hadn't even given a response on it, so a lot of people were speculating online on what this could be. Fortunately, no one had actually seen Sung, but he did feel bad since he could only imagine the anxiety a regular person would feel seeing a potential monster flying above them.
Yeah, for sure. A giant dragon.
Called to talk, and what Sung believed was them trying to contact him about the dragon was instead the chairman wanting to meet up. This brings us to the meeting about the raid, where Chairman Go would start by showing CCTV footage of the attack. He would then explain how 300 people died before it was stopped, leading Sung to ask if Japan had been slow to respond. Mr. Go would reveal how it only took 30 minutes to respond, so in the short time it took for Japanese hunters to get there, one single ant was able to wipe out the entire village. It didn't matter how many times Mr. Go watched this, since every time he did, he couldn't help but shudder at the amount of damage which could be done to Korea. Like, if even Japan and their highly comprehensive hunter network couldn't handle it, then the disaster awaiting them was significantly worse. Now, the reason such a meeting was so urgent was because the Japanese Hunter Association was constantly demanding the official list of raid participants. Since Sung was yet to confirm his intent, the chairman was constantly delaying it. Sung was, of course,
on some plot shit. Like, that's good. That's good. Don't let them know.
Guild affiliation and no employment with the association.
They're trying to find a counter to Sung, just in case like any of the S rank hunters on Korea side make it out, or they're on their way out. They don't want them to survive. They want to slaughter all of them. So I feel like they're gonna try to sit there and attack all of them, or try to stab them in the back some way, somehow. And they're gonna pick Sung, and that's gonna be the wrong person. The wrong person to backstab, I'm telling you.
He wasn't bound by the responsibilities that a normal hunter would. It was right as he was about to give his answer, though, that's when he would sense what he initially thought was a dungeon break. Sensing it more revealed it wasn't the presence of monsters, but rather just a clash of raw magical energy. This was actually quite the incredible feat on its own, because the gymnasium Beck was in was designed to minimize the amount of magical energy leaked to the outside. In fact, where Sung could sense their energies clearly, Chairman Go couldn't sense a thing. That being the case, in a way this showed just how much Sung's power had grown. Not only could he detect the minor amount of energy that was leaked, but he was also able to distinguish the types of magic energies that were clashing. So from Chairman Go's perspective,
Chairman Go is like
very highly attuned now.
We gotta get this man!
Sung decided to go check.
We gotta get this man in here!
Was because a name was mentioned that every person around the world knew, regardless of whether you were a hunter or not. At some point, you would have heard the name Gyoto Ryuji before. So the fact he was here in a building right next to them, well, the opportunity to meet him wasn't something Sung wanted to miss out on. So it's here in the gymnasium that things started to pick up, introducing the rest of Korea's S ranks along with the 10 participating on the Japan side. Considering how they're jumping straight into the 4v4 though, does make it seem like they're gonna be skipping quite a bit of it. In the
Oh my goodness.
I think this will make for a pretty good stopping point. To quickly give out some extra information though, Guildmaster Ma is the leader of the Fame Guild, while Jong-soo is the leader of the Knights.
Oh, he's an A
Fame
rank.
currently sits at 4th, whereas the Knights, although not possessing an S rank, do contain the highest number of A ranks in the country. But yeah, that's mostly everything from Season 2, Episode 9. The cut content here was mostly on the light side, but the amount they covered wasn't that much to begin with. I expect we'll start seeing a lot more in the coming episodes, especially if they plan to cover Jeju Island in the 4 episodes remaining. So be sure to subscribe if you want to see that, and if you like the video, then leave a like. But anyway,
Like the
don't forget to
video.
check out the new merch down
Support
below,
the
and
merch.
If you're looking for ReZero, I'll have a video out for that this week.
Good ass video.
Until next time, though. Ciao.
Okay. Only a couple of weeks to grab the new solo leveling tee. Check out the collection here. Yes, sir. People forget his family is his only reason for doing any of the hunting stuff. All the emotions from 4 years are basically being at death's door finally came out. Yup. Yup, deadass. I hated that individual hated this episode because Jinwoo was in tears because he hasn't been able to speak to his mother for over 4 years. That's insane too. Like, you really, again, I'm gonna say it again, bro. If you really did not like the last episode just because somebody was crying, bro, after they hadn't spoke to their mom in 4 years, like she's literally a vegetable for 4 years, and you didn't like it because you ain't see no fighting, you're not real. You definitely not real. Like, there's something wrong with you. Like, deadass, there's something wrong with you. You need to go get your head checked out, for real. You crazy. You straight crazy. That's it for all the cut content, though. Let's see what else we missing here, dog. We saw the Lakers. We saw Luffy with the Lakers. Oh, Speed's live. Uh-oh. Crunchyroll just released Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yabai, Infinity Castle release date. Okay. Let's go ahead and check it out. Let's see the release date. This is gonna get copyrighted. I know it's gonna get copyrighted, so let's go ahead and skip ahead a little bit. Wait, only in theaters? Is that what it said? Only in movie theaters, September 12th. Okay. I think it's gonna be worth it though. Okay, y'all, July 18th is the Japanese release date. September 12th is the worldwide release date. Hey, some Luffy fans, if you catch my drift, is probably gonna watch it on July 18th. Dead like, I'm not trying to get spoiled, bro. 3 movies. Yeah, it's gonna finish in 3 movies. I thought it was gonna be 2. I thought we were gonna get another season from this one and then 2 movies. That's what I thought it was gonna be. But this is probably gonna be the whole castle, all the fights in the castle, which I'm for watching the movie, like dead ass. But I might watch it twice. I'll probably One Piece this. You know what I'm saying? I'll One Piece this on July 18th, and then I'll go support in theaters on September 12th. You know what I'm saying? I'm a One Piece this. I'm One Piece that right there. One Piece. All right. What else we got? That's crazy. Like, oh, here's a little bit of that one that I was talking about. Let me hear this. What this guy got to say.
This episode showcased Jinwoo's Soul Leveling Season 2, Episode 9 becomes the first episode of the season to hit over 1K dislikes on Crunchyroll. The latest episode showcased Jinwoo's emotional reunion with his mother, aka the latest episode, this episode for those that are wondering, where Jinwoo is able to heal his mother with the elixir and allow her to actually have a reunion with her family.
Hey, look at that man got a nice poster in the back. But yeah, deadass, like, how are you upset about that? Like, how is that something that made you dislike the episode? Why do people dislike him reuniting with his mom? He's been trying to save her this whole time. I'm sorry that people don't understand that was like the whole point of this man grinding the 100 floors was to save his mom. It's like people was like, boo, he achieved his goal, boo. We want to see a fight. Bro, people are so brain dead. Like, anime probably cooked in this shit, bro. Oh, Solo Leveling Season 2 Arise from the Shadows climax trailer? Bro, all these trailers is just popping up, bro. Like, on my shit. Let's take a look.
誰よりもその惨めさを知っている。それでも頂点への憧れを捨てきれなかった。諦めたらそこまでだ。
This music is finna get copyrighted, bruh. Let's see his moms again. He saved his moms.
Jin.
Third raid on Jeju Island.
あの戦いは僕の中で。
They show didn't. Alright. Let's go through.
がああなってしまう。日本の S 級ハンターたち。
I'm trying to keep it from copywriting because I want to see what's going on.
そしてギルドマスターの後藤隆二です。
Oh, they boxing up. You're ready to assemble 15 S rank hunters, but they trying to scam.
こちらにはすでに15人もの S 級ハンターがいるんです。
Ooh, she's throwing hands. All right.
ようやくたどり着いた。
Okay. 3-year-old Vendetta. The healer's back in. They got the healer back in. Okay. Somebody's out. Like I said, if y'all are watching this, I'm trying to avoid copyright right now because I have to edit all the stuff from this video. I don't want this whole video going down. Okay, the queen bust out. The country needs a hero. Juwu. My family's back together. Time to destroy yours. Oh my god. Yeah, he's going to a whole island to go wipe out a civilization. It's their fault, bro. This is like, ain't it? It's like, that's like some Attack on Titan shit, though. You know, it's like Korea and Japan, or whoever did it first. Like, Korea raided Jeju Island. Like, were they there first? Or did the ants, like, invade Jeju Island and then take it from the humans, and the humans wanted to take it back? But if the humans are raiding the island just to get rid of them, and they were already living there first, that's where it's like, this meme is funny. Or this joke is funny. Like, this man's about to go wipe out a civilization that's just trying to live in peace. It's just humans being viruses again. Oh, this one died. Let's pop in the other one. What? Hold up, why is this? It connected to the wrong thing. Bluetooth settings connect. Alright, there we go. We're good. Cause I was like, what? Had to turn off the other Bluetooth. Alright. So what else we got? I think we got one more thing to check out. And that'd be it. Oh, we haven't watched Windbreaker. Or actually, I think the first episode. Oh! Speed? He was talking about solo leveling? Let me see. Speed was talking about solo leveling. Let me see what he said. Let me move myself. Where am I gonna go? Right here. Alright. What'd he say?
Chat. Let me chat for the people who's in the stream right now. Let me give y'all something. Let me give y'all some quick sauce real quick. After you watch this stream, bro, watch this anime right here. Like me as a One Piece fan, chat, I think One Piece is the best anime.
Facts.
After you watch this stream, if you have not watched Solo Leveling yet, trust me, the probability of you will watch the whole series is a 95%. This is the best anime right now, chat. Right now. I'm not saying all time One Piece is the best anime, but as right now, Solo Leveling is in my top 5 of all time. Solo Leveling is in my top 5 of all time.
Actually,
and that is,
I'm not gonna say like of all time, because there's a lot of all times. There's a lot had that been sitting there of all times. But I don't want to let like nostalgia and the fact that it's been around a lot longer be the deciding factors to why Solo Leveling can't breach my top 5. But that being said, you know, like One Piece is still ongoing, so they still coming out with fresh and new stuff. But I feel like 15 years from now, once all of these anime that are currently airing right now are all said and done and finished, completed, closed, you know what I'm saying? Is like Solo Leveling will more than likely be in my top 5 as well. Like 100%. If it keeps going the way it's going and they don't give it the 7 deadly sins treatment, we good. And to be honest, I wouldn't even mind if Solo Leveling completely 100%. Now I wouldn't mind as much. I will mind a little bit. I wouldn't mind if they gave Solo Leveling the One Piece treatment by making this stuff seem like it'll never end. Because if this stuff keeps going, these episodes keep going, the content for Solo Leveling just keeps on rolling, I'm going to have stuff to watch regardless, because I'm going to enjoy the story. But the one thing that Solo and all these anime need to get right when it comes to making a long-term anime like One Piece is to make sure that these people cannot even guess or like figure out what the ending is, because nobody knows. Well, people have their theories. They got people that got their theories about what the One Piece is or where it's at, but no one for a deciding factor can know, is because we feel like Oda, the creator of One Piece, be tapped in with whatever people's little conspiracy theories that they be posting and hypotheses of like how it's gonna end, and he just tweak it a little bit, like nobody thought about that yet, but they kind of like catching up. We gonna change it a little bit. So that being said, Solo Leveling, it's got the potential within the next 10 years to be definitely in the top 5 all-time best anime if they do it right. And they need to quit cutting the content, bruh. They need to quit cutting things out. Leave everything from the manhwa and the novels that make the most sense into the anime. Let the anime be the best adaptation of the novels, bruh. Like, people want to see, like, people always saying, like, the manhwa's better. The manga's better. It's like, just read the manga. Just read the manhwa. We tired of hearing that, too. Like, we want to be able to read the manhwa, read the manga, and then love the anime too, and be like, bruh, you won't get let down by either reading it or watching it. They both gonna be good. I don't want to hear people always saying like, just go read it, just go read it. No, I want to see both. I want to see people being able to say both. It's like, bro, you can pick whichever one you want. Like the manhwa, the novels, or the anime. They all do it justice. But so far, the anime is cutting out some good gold, bro. They cutting out content.
It's crazy because I watch a lot of shows. So chat, watch this. Watch Solo Leveling after the stream on Crunchyroll or illegal anime websites. I don't know where you gonna watch it, but watch it.
Deadass. All right. So what else? They got Juju Island stuff already leaked, bro. Come on now. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Okay. All right, I think that's it for today. I gotta edit like all of these reactions and stuff and post them tonight. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm gonna cut it out. I'm about to bounce out of here. Maybe watch one more thing real quick. You know, like a little something. Ooh, I do want to watch season 3 of Invincible as well. I wanted to check that out. Wait, I want to see this. It's not anime content, but I want to see something.
Why is the FPS so low on cam? Oh, it's because the camera has problems with the lighting. Okay, you want something really weird? Watch this. I'll put the cam in high FPS and you're gonna hate it. Watch this. Isn't that so weird? That is fucking weird.
High FPS?
Because doing is actually like this. Guys, it's like movies. 24 FPS is the way to go. 60 FPS sucks. This is terrible. Wait, you get the difference. Okay, bro. Look how quick this is. Look how quick this is. Look at this, yeah?
Yeah, it's catching you. It's catching you. It's catching every frame. That looks better. It's blurry.
See?
Yeah.
It's low FPS, but I like
the blur.
I think it's better. I don't give a fuck. I think it's actually better.
It is. I think it's a lot better as well. Like, I'm running my stuff in like 24 FPS as well. See? It's blurry. Like, you don't want it to catch you like too fast. It just looks weird. He knows. Like, if you're going to do vlogs and stuff and you want to get cinematic with it, just do 24 or like 30. 24 is like the sweet spot. But if you're doing it to where you're doing like fast actions or you're doing sports related stuff, like you're running routes or some shit like that or playing basketball, pickleball, whatever your poison is, you got to switch it. Switch it to 60 so it can catch all the movement. You know, like all that fast paced movement and stuff. I'm probably about to go outside and, you know, like shoot real quick too. Play some basketball. Tune the Tap Man response to Marvel Rival haters. It's not just because I'm paid. Well, it's a big reason as to why you're playing it, though. It is a huge reason as to why you're playing. Because you're getting paid for it. But yeah, like, that's about to be it for this stream, yo. I'm glad everybody came in. Shout out to Joffel, Gabby, Isaac, and who else? I think that's it. Yeah. shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all coming in here, stopping in, saying what's up. Yeah, everybody else that came in here, thanks for stopping in and just being a viewer, a watcher. If you got any recommendations on anything else that I should be watching aside from like anime, anything else like Crime Time or just updates on anime, like trailers and stuff like that, let me know. If you want me to switch it up a little bit, do some content in between, let me know. I'll put stuff out there, you know what I'm saying? Trying to like diversify my channel, you know? I know it's gonna take some time because I've already developed an audience that is like completely into anime and likes anime 100%. But I feel like that's everybody. Like everybody grew up in my age range, and it just keeps continuing on. People grew up on anime. They grew up on this stuff. Like everybody knows who Goku is. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be 50 years old, you know who Goku is. You could be 60, you know who Goku is. So, yeah. If you want me to watch any other type of content, any like vlog style, anything like that, let me know. I'll put it in. Until then, I'll see y'all later.